Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and unfortunately Matt is away on a trip this weekend, so it's just me and Connor.
No, one day you'll say that without being so disappointed.
Hey, to be fair, I introduced you and like lots of other stuff during the week, and I do not sound depressed on all those. It's just a running thing for this particular show.
It is. But it'd be nice to maybe get bumped up to second billing when Matt's not here.
Well, because I always say him first, so I always mention that he's not here, and then go to you.
But you could just be like, I'm here, and oh, Matt's not. Sorry.
Yeah, but then that spoils that he's not here.
So does you introducing that he's not here before you say I am anyway.
I know, but that way they're finding out with me directly saying he's not here, whereas if I say you're here first, they go, oh, that means Matt's not there, and then they find out a second later.
I'm sure they'll be horrified for that second.
Which means no difference for the video people, but for the audio people, there's suspense.
Oh yeah, real suspense.
I think of the audience first. That's all I'm saying. Create a story. All right, we talk about comics on this show. Coming up on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about Dark Knights Rising, The Wild Hunt #1, the one shot in between 5 and 6 of Metal, which came out this week, and then we also have Detective Comics 974, Action Comics 997, Wonder Woman #40, The Flash #40, Supergirl 18, New Superman and the Justice League of China #20. We had the first issue of Sideways, which is the next New Age of DC Heroes book. I will talk about Titans this month because it's the start of a new arc, and just to sort of cover what happened in the end of the last arc, because it seems fairly relevant for stuff that's coming up soon in a broader spectrum. And then Connor will be doing his Connor's Corner for the month here, which is Red Hood and the Outlaws #15. If you don't know why he's doing that, there's a tier on our Patreon at the $30 tier to make Connor read a book of your choosing once a month. And David Short has been keeping Red Hood and the Outlaws going for a long ass time now, so he's at issue 15 this month.
You know, he took a point to remind me on Twitter this week.
Oh, really?
To which issue we were on, because you know how I always ask you which issue. He tweeted me on like Thursday going, hey, I know you're due soon, so it's issue 15. Yeah.
It's actually true that the week that he's doing it, usually like a few days before the episode, he'll be like, hey, what issue I read to them on? As if I'm meant to remember.
Because the thing is, you do the timestamps, so you write it in, so I feel like you just have this vague recollection.
But when you asked me, it's been like 3.5 weeks since the last Red Hood where I did the timestamps.
Yeah, it has. But I just feel like you might have some vague recollection anyway. And you never do, but one day you might.
There's 4 slots that open, by the way. Potentially this could be happening every week for 4 different people.
It could, yeah.
He's been lucky so far in that it's only been the one person, but we'll see how that goes. So that's all the books coming up. We have a little bit of news again to talk about. They've been quite fruitful with the news recently, actually. We also have the charts. We have January's charts to talk about. Sales figures. Matt's not here to guess, unfortunately. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm trying to figure out what the news is. I don't remember any, so I'm just thinking to myself what it could be.
Oh, you'll find out yourself. It'll be a nice surprise for you.
This is the thing. I don't know if this is something I know and then have forgotten, or if I just don't know.
Yeah, there was no real DC movie news this week. There's a couple of Marvel tidbits. That traitor Bendis is writing a Kitty Pryde movie. He's meant to be with us now, and he's writing Kitty Pryde. Oh dear.
Oh well.
Worth mentioning though, that's at Fox. It actually has nothing to do with Marvel directly. In terms of the company, it's just
he's got a loophole.
Yeah, it's a loophole, so he can keep writing Kitty Pryde until that Disney deal goes through. In which case, the whole thing comes crumbling down.
But that's the thing. If he's already got the contract before that, exclusivity won't apply.
It depends. Like, did they have him signed in for a trilogy, so that he'll still be writing these movies for years?
Yeah, they might do if they put in an option to give him returning for X amount of movies.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. There's nothing to stop Disney when they get a hold of it going, no, we're mad at that prick. He left. He betrayed us.
I really don't think Disney gives a shit.
No, probably not. Probably not. Okay, so what do we have first? We have charts first. We have January's numbers. The initial percentages came out just before the show last week, but we actually the bright spot of leaving it to the following episode does we actually have the full list with all numbers, the sales figures. Alright, so in terms of percentages and stuff, just to quickly get that out of the way, Marvel did beat DC in both share and dollar share and unit share this in January. Not by a lot. It's pretty neck and neck as usual. dollar share Marvel was 34.3%, DC was 33.8%, so 0.5%.
I always expect Marvel to take more on the dollar share anyway, given that they have more books priced at $3.99.
No, it makes sense. And then the unit share. Oh no, DC won this. Sorry, this is this bad chart. They've got it in the same order, despite the fact that DC are higher on this column. I'm not happy about this.
That's not bad charting. That's consistency.
Anyway, yeah, DC won with 38.94%, and then Marvel had 36.69%. So a good 2%, give or take.
Which just, I think, goes to show you just how much more the Marvel books cost. When they're 0.5% higher in dollars, but they're significantly lower than in the units.
I'll be interested to see when some of the books go single shipping, how this shifts things.
Yeah, possibly.
I'm be curious. Images number 3 with 8.23%, then you get IDW with 3.51, then Dark Horse at 1.27, and then everything else.
I'll be honest, after Image, nothing really matters at that point.
I don't know, IDW and Dark Horse, although Dark Horse
I get that, but once you're below 5%, it's like, whatever.
I mean, IDW and Dark Horse put out stuff I care about. I mean, once you go... I mean, Boom has Power Rangers, I suppose, and then, I mean, I don't even know where Archie lands on this, but, I like a couple of Archie books.
What's lower?
Yeah, they're not in the top 10. Oh, here the bottom one is other non-top 10. 5.71%. They're somewhere in that mix.
Oh, okay. Good for them.
I'm actually not going to lie. I'm surprised there's enough in the other to make up 5%. I really am.
That's actually quite a significant amount, considering
that tells you how many little publishers there are pushing out little books every week.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, what you got? What's even in there?
Well, I mean, the rest of this top 10, we got Boom, Dynamite, Viz Media, Titan Comics, and Oni Press. So you've got Archie left.
215.
215. What's that one that did the John Carpenter sci-fi anthology one? Because that was like one I'd never heard of.
Oh, I'm not sure. You got Aftershock.
There you go.
Yeah. There's a lot of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
Hard to keep up with.
I'm amazed they're still keeping business, to be honest, with numbers like these.
Valiant.
Oh yeah. I feel like they were probably on top 10 for a long time until recently, when things started to...
Yeah, no, you're right. Like a year and a half ago, I feel like I was seeing them everywhere, and now kind of just nowhere.
They had a big relaunch, and now they seem doomed. Alright, so... You told me not to make you guess because Matt's not here and it's no fun.
Well, it's not need to guess the first one. It's Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, it's really obvious. The Doomsday Clock number 3 had 157,000 copies sold. Number 2 is also pretty obvious.
A Batman issue?
Nope.
Metal?
Yeah, there you go. DC's other event.
Okay. That's basically a Batman.
Metal number 5 with 149,000 issues. That's the only 2 books that are over 100,000. Number 3 and 4 Batman, 38 and 39, with 98 and 94,000 respectively. Number 5 is The Walking Dead, 175 with 82,000. I feel like it's been a while since I've seen that in the top 10, but I guess 175 is a milestone.
Yeah. No, I agree.
What I think's interesting about that, though, or the best part about that, is that I saw Robert Kirkman tweet out this week that he outsold, like, in January, every single Marvel book, including their big Avengers weekly event, and he's being smug about it because back in like 2008, Marvel told him he didn't have a future. Oh no, you're going to crash and burn.
No, credit to him. He should be smug about that.
Oh no, I'm not complaining. I enjoyed the tweet.
I think even, I mean, he's ahead of most DC books. To be fair, he deserves to be smug because he's done that pretty much on his own in terms of the marketing and and building the brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think Walking Dead's a bit long in the tooth. I mean, I've not read it since about issue 104-ish.
I think the last one I read was 100.
Yeah, I read because 100 was in the middle of an arc. I finished that arc, and I've not read since. And I didn't not like it. It was just, I think I read those 100 issues over like a year. So I read them really condensed.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it when I was reading it. I think the show, more than anything else, put me off reading more of it because I really hated the show.
It did for me as well, yeah. I mean, he's got Invincible's coming to an end. very soon,
Yeah.
which is also in the big numbers. But he's got a new book starting in the next couple of weeks, new sci-fi book, which sounds all right.
Yeah, I think Invincible. I think it's ending around 150 or something like that.
That sounds about right.
Something up there. Yeah. So he's stuck to these two big books, and he's really rode them out. And who knows when Walking Dead's going to end? He's going to milk that cow forever.
Let's get into at least 200.
Oh, at this point, yeah.
Yeah, I'd put money on 250.
Yeah, could be. Speaking of Marvel, though, number 6 is Avengers 675, which was the first of the weekly No Surrender story. That's the 16-part thing building up to their...
Did you keep up with that? I know you read the first one.
I read the first 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that's a no, is what you're saying.
I didn't really like the second edition. And, like, I'm hearing people who really like it, and that's great. You know, love it all you want. I don't know. It wasn't grabbing me. Well, you know, and that's the thing. I am probably more positive now in Marvel than I have been a while, because I'm really enjoying All New Wolverine, X-Men Red. Like, you know, I really liked that issue.
Did X-Men Red start?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it started first week of the month, last week.
Oh, cool.
That was good. I liked it. But it's worth mentioning, just for curiosity's sake, though. So that was the first part of their 16-week big thing, big lead up to the relaunch. So that's number 6 with 79,000. Let's see where 676, the next issue of that, came in for a laugh, shall we?
Oh, please. Yeah, you having to control F this.
I'm going to control F. Right.
Well, that's always a good sign.
It came in at number 36.
Oh, that's a painful drop.
With 39,000, which is less than half of the copies of the previous issue. So, you know, I think that's their variance and whatnot, beefing up that first one, as well as just, you know, interest because it's the first part.
Yeah, retailers banking on, hey, this is a new thing.
Yep. Number 7 is Batman White Knight. Number 4 was 73,000. Number 8 is Amazing Spider-Man Venom Inc. Omega. God, I hate that.
What a mouthful.
62,000 that was. And then number 9, somehow, Batman in the Signal, number 1. I guess if you put Batman in the title, it'll sell the damn thing regardless of what it actually is. That sold 62,000. And then number 10 was Old Man Hawkeye, number 1, with 57,000. And I think it's funny that there's no Star Wars in the top 10, but 11, 12, and 13 are all Star Wars.
Yeah. Star Wars books have been pretty good lately, though.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they're not as consistently hot selling, because a lot of them are, you know, getting, you know, into the higher issues. So you kind of got to have been going with them for longer at this point. And also, you know, a lot of them, when they said they had a big appeal of this is this specific thing, whereas now they're kind of getting into just smaller characters, a lot of it. So it's kind of just, here, have this.
Yeah, the big honeymoon phase of, oh, we got Marvel, we're going to do big Marvel books. That phase is kind of over. And I mean, they're still selling very well, obviously.
They did just announce a new Han Solo one, of course. Or is it Lando, or is it both of them? They announced a whole slate of books and comics this week.
All right, okay. So, you know, that's that. You got Detective at 14 and 15. Flash being DC's next biggest seller, actually, after Batman and Detective. That's 19 and 21 for those 2 issues.
What about the annuals were that month, right?
You're right. Where were they? Detective annual was number 28 with 44,000, so...
Not too much of a drop in terms of numbers, even if the position's significantly low.
Where was it again? Yeah, 51 down to 40. What did I say? 44.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a huge leap. Where's the Flash annual actually? That's really curious because Flash annual was
quite a notable issue comparatively. I mean, you know, we said a lot of the Detective annual was very good, but the Flash one was kind of advertising the next big thing, so to speak. So I'd expected the retailers to kind of get on that. Flash
annual was number 27 with 44, almost 45,000. So that was actually higher than the Detective one, just slightly. But
yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Like I said, I think the retailers know that, okay, this is advertising an arc coming up. So if they can push this to customers, then they're more likely to be able to push that arc onto new customers. Oh,
absolutely. So that's the thing. But yeah, so I guess that's the sales figures of the week. So yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on to some news. Bit of a follow up. Obviously, we know Bendis is taking over Superman, and
yes,
well, he's getting his miniseries in May. Start at the end of May, it's running through June to the start of July, and then he's taking over Superman in action. Superman's renumbering to #1. Action Comics will be starting from 1001 that month. They're taking time off. However, that does not mean that we have no Superman or action post-April, post-Action 1000, because they announced this week that we are getting one-issue specials of both Action Comics and Superman as finales to their current runs. So Superman Special #1 by Tomasi and Gleason to sort of round out their run, and Action Comics Special #1 to round out Jurgens' run.
Are these extra sized?
They are. They're 48 pages there, and they've got backups. So they're...
Okay. See, here's the thing. I get why they do it for Action, because they don't want to. They don't want to lose that 1001 for Bendis' start. That makes sense to me. The Superman one, though, I don't know why they don't just do 2 more issues that month instead of a special.
Well, there's those backups, so the actual main story may not be 2 issues worth. Mainly, I think it's just to match, so that they just have like a sort of mirrored set. And also, I think it oddly kind of sets you up for the single shipping, because you're getting one of each that month.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, we're still assuming that they go into single shipping, right? Have they outright said that?
They're not outright said it yet, but just the indication from that the text we got when they announced the books seems like it's going to single shipping.
Yeah.
I've certainly heard other podcasts and news sites just assume that as well. And they've not even done what we've done and said, oh, but we're just kind of jumping to conclusions a little bit here. They've just outright said it, but I think they're just reading into it as well.
Yeah, but we won't know for certain for a while till we get solicits for that.
We'll get the solicits for that in April.
Yeah. So, a little while yet. I mean, we do solicits for next week, right?
Yeah, probably.
I'm just like, am I looking at the month? It's like, it should be next week, but we haven't had any early ones like we usually get.
Sometimes it veers slightly later. Like I feel like it's been veering more towards the later in the month recently, but theoretically it should be next week. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's usually the 3rd Monday, I think.
But yeah, so, and I guess the other reason why they're doing the Superman special is just to make it feel like the word says special, just like, oh, it's a special final. It's not just number 40 whatever. So I kind of get it. So yeah, those are coming in May. May 2nd we'll have the Action Comics special #1, and it'll be Jurgens with artist Will Conrad. It's called The Last Will and Testament of Lex Luthor. Beginning with the events of Rebirth, Superman's greatest enemy became his most unexpected ally. Is Lex finally on the heroic path, or is he still hiding his true colours? Which is what the DC announcement says. When he finds himself in an adventure where Superman could be destroyed, what will he do? Save the Man of Steel or witness his demise at the hands of an unimaginable enemy? It'll also feature a new story by Mark Russell and Jill Thompson, along with Max Landis and Francis Manapul.
That'll be their story that got pulled
from the holiday special. Yeah,
I saw a page of that the other day that went up on Twitter. Someone posted it. It looks so good. So
that's what's going to be in the Action Comics special. And then on May 16th, 2 weeks later, you get the Superman special #1, and it'll revisit Dinosaur Island, which we visited in Superman 8 and 9, if you remember that 2-parter.
I do, yeah.
So before Superman's world goes through the same drastic changes, he has unfinished business to attend on Dinosaur Island. Superman and the Losers. Captain Storm take one final trip together into the abyss of tomorrow, which brings the military man out of time into the world of today. So
interesting. That text implies that Superman knows something's happening. Like he's got unfinished business. Like he goes to do it before stuff happens.
Maybe maybe the Action Comics 1000 or the preview and DC Nation will set up something that we'll know about.
Yeah, it could do, and it could be just misleading wording, but just the way it's said there sounds like that to me.
Yeah, it may not be something the character knows. It may just be the way they're phrasing it for that. Yeah, it'll also feature additional stories by writer-artist teams Michael Russell and Brian Hitch, and then another one by Ian Flynn and Carrie Andrews. So, yeah. So I like that they're giving them a send off. They're making them have like finales that feel like a slightly bigger deal than just random issues. It's kind of funny how infrequent Tomasi and Gleason have been on their book, and as much as I've not been enjoying their book for a while now, I'm still glad they're getting like a final little send off, just to like, okay, bye bye. Here's the end of the run.
Hopefully, it'll be back to because that early stuff was really good and fun. And the Dinosaur Island was maybe slightly weaker than some of the stuff around it, but it was still solid.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be back to that form with those ideas.
So yeah, because I think at first we felt like May was going to be mostly Superman-less until Man of Steel started at the end, but now we've got these two big one-shots to kind of give us a Superman fix during the month before Bendis comes in and kicks things into gear. So there you go. That is the news.
Cool.
We'll see what else they have for us next week, and if we do have solicits, maybe there's some juicy tidbits in there. But with that said, we can actually get on to the books of the week, and we will start, of course, with the event book, the one-shot Dark Knights Rising, the Wild Hunt #1. Scott Snyder and Grant Morrison writing, with Jorge Jimenez, Doug Mahnke, and Howard Porter all on art. And it's sort of divvied up throughout the book.
Yeah. So, where do you want to start with this one?
So I tweeted out yesterday after I read it. I said, you know what? I think I understood that pretty well. A couple of the pages. You know, there's a couple of
the credits page as well. Mendoza's also on art.
Oh, we got a fourth artist, alright.
Fourth, yeah. I think 3 doesn't sound like enough given how this looked.
That's fair. Obviously, the chimp stuff, the detective chimp stuff, was nicely separated because it was a flashback, so that worked out well as having a different artist. But
the rest's kind of a mess.
Yeah,
in terms of art.
Yeah, it flips. It's not all the end of the art is necessarily bad. It just kind of flips around too much to.
Yeah, there's just so much of it. But individually, they're all fine to good, depending on your taste. But
yeah,
they don't necessarily mesh all that well.
Yeah, so where do we begin? So Detective Chimp is kind of de-evolving because of what's happening with the multiverse and dying.
Yes. I mean, we do start with his origin.
We do start with his origin, yeah.
Which is nice. I liked it.
I enjoyed it as well. It was nice and simple compared to what the rest of the book ended up.
Yeah, and it was this nice, like, you know, like 3 or 4 pages of just, oh, we'll just do this.
Yeah. It made us care a little bit. I felt really bad for his you know, the guy who was feeding them and helping him, and you know, and then he comes back, he takes his hat, he comes back and solves the crime, and that's how his detective career starts. I did kind of like that. I'm not sure like how in line this is with like past versions of his origin. Like I'm not
too sure.
My Detective Chimp history is not as concrete as perhaps it should be. I will confess to that. But
me either.
It was an enjoyable little story for what it was. And, you know, we have Chimp working with a lot of the mad scientists, Magnus, Morrow, Savannah, etc.
Yeah.
They're working on the frequencies, the music side of things, which... this is actually one of the things that I think I'll read even better when it's read in trade later. I feel like it's been so long since they brought up the way that all this connects to music and the frequencies. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a thing. Like, you know, I was sort of like, as I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. Like, rather than just knowing it as I'm reading it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's amusing because obviously all like the ship and stuff. It's not even new for metal. It's just that they've tied it in with this a bit more.
Yeah, what do you call it? The ultimate fuel.
Fuel. Yeah,
fuel.
It's such a hard word to get your tongue around, isn't it?
Because you want to say fuel. That's what your
You
word
do.
goes to. Your mouth goes to. But yeah, fuel. The ultimate fuel. And you got Flash. You got Cyborg. You got Raven on there. And you've got the Dark Knights in pursuit, and they've got a baby universe.
A bunch of baby universes.
Oh yeah, you find out later that they've got a bunch of them because every missile they fired at the ship had one in it. But at first you think they've just got the one.
Yeah.
And you think that's just the MacGuffin, but then it turns out, no, we've got tons of baby universes, all handpicked by Barbatos, and we're sending them to you. And basically what they're doing is they're herding the heroes on the fuel, to basically be the carrier so that they can go into the heart of the multiverse and basically cause the explosion, the ripple that's going to break the multiverse. This is what they're doing. And I've simplified that. There was a lot more complex things going on than what I'm ready to explain to you, because I don't think I can explain them to you.
On Twitter, Snyder was saying how Morrison will tell you he didn't have that much impact on the book. He just added more monkeys.
Oh, God.
No, he didn't.
This is so Grant Morrison.
It is. Like even the second panel of the book is looking at his multiversity map.
No, I noticed that. Yeah, I did notice that. And there's like small references. At one point, the ship flies over like one of the Earths, and you see like people like screaming for help down below. But obviously it's all building up, and we have like big moments. Of course, the Red Death actually gets cured of evil Batman, and it's just that Barry again in a gold version of the suit, and he ends up
cool, actually.
Yeah, and he ends up helping our Barry, and then basically sacrifices himself to try and save the multiverse. He's like, no, there has to be sacrifices, and he stays behind. But then, of course, Batman Who Laughs is like, haha, this was all part of the plan. We have been herding you here. We are aiming you, and we get the almost. Was it just me, or does now cured good Red Death Barry exploding look very Dr. Manhattan-esque?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, very the blue light.
I don't know if that's intentional or if it's just like, hey, look at this.
It may not actually mean anything, but I saw that and went, that looks very Manhattan.
It does look very similar.
Yeah. Red Tornado wakes up and he's basically like, evil's coming. We opened the door, we try to shut it, but evil's coming. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
So that's all happening.
Oh my god, there's so much in this book.
There's so much. And again, another thing that I'd almost kind of forgotten about is that the Batman Who Laughs has this guy in bandages, this captive person. I remember theorising about this back in like issue 2.
Like 1 or 2. It was really early on, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were theorising about who this bandaged person could be. And he's making him watch. Whoever it is, he's making him watch as the universe is presumably dying. And then, but obviously, I think the big thing that everyone wants to talk about though is the ending.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have... So Chimp is de-evolving, and he hears a voice. As everything seems to be dying, he hears a voice. He hears Stubbs, who was the helper of the last Monitor, if I recall correctly. This is getting super Grant Morrison here when I'm starting to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
And basically, this is help coming. Now, it's a shame Matt's not here because I really want to know what Matt's brain did when he read the phrase "We're from the 53rd Earth."
I know. I got so excited.
And I'm like, oh, Matt's brain is imploding right now. And this is an ape planet of some kind, seemingly. I mean, we don't know. Maybe this was like humans first of all, and then it was like Planet of the Apes where they all took over. Maybe they were always apes. Like, who's to say at this point?
I want to know. I want more of this Earth.
We see Bat Chimp. We see Aqua Chimp. We see a little Raven Chimp. I think.
Is that what that is?
I think the little one's Raven.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Oh, actually, no. Maybe is that an atom on his forehead?
Yeah, it looks more like an atom to me.
Okay, yeah, so maybe it's... Is it Captain Atom? Captain Atom Chimp? I don't know.
I have no idea. You got Super Chimp, obviously.
I expect Titano. He's actually a pre-established thing.
I know, but I'm just going with the flow here.
Yeah, I don't believe the others are. I could be wrong, though. Someone will probably pull these out of obscurity. Like, Grant Morrison pulled Bat Chimp out of, like, Detective issue 425 from...
That would be a Morrison thing to do.
It would be.
That's his whole thing. Everything is canon.
Yeah, but Titano I'm familiar with. I can't tell you a lot about him, but I'm familiar with him. Yeah. So he's like, yeah. So here's the really interesting bit. So yeah, so Bobo, brother, Detective Chimp, we're here. I also like how he started that. He's like, DC, you wondered what that meant, and I'm like, it was very meta.
Yeah. They've been doing the whole issue because he talks about how he played the accordion, the 2 chords. Over
DC.
Over, DC. Yeah.
And yeah, so he's like, yeah, we got this fixed back in 2067. The 53rd world is here to help. So you ready to save the universe? And the last page, he's got his magnifying glass out. So it's Bat Chimp doing his Detective Chimp impression, and then behind him it appears that the heroes on the ship, the Thule, Cyborg, Flash, and Raven have survived. The chimps have saved them.
Yes. Chimps to the rescue.
So, would you like to explain to me what happened in this issue?
Not really. This is a dense issue that is all over the place in ideas, and it's so Morrison. I think I need to read this like 3 or 4 times more before I really get it.
That may very well be true. Here's what I'm going to say in terms of positives. I think despite how hard it is to kind of keep a grasp on all the things that are happening,
it's always enjoyable.
I wasn't exactly what I was going to say, but despite all the things that are going on, right, and despite all these ideas that, you know, and I know they're not, this is the crazy thing about Morrison, is I know that he's just got an encyclopedia of these ideas that he's hinted at before in Multiversity, and, you know, the Final Crisis, and all these things, right? But in terms of a story, I do feel that sometimes he suffers because he doesn't actually properly set things up again for each story, so they actually work in a traditional sense. But to give it credit, throughout the entire time, I always get the feeling of what I'm supposed to feel in every single scene.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I don't know how he does that. I really don't. But I get the dread. I get the ticking time bomb sort of tension as they're racing towards the center of the universe. I get the dread of the evil coming as red tornadoes, like, talking about how they opened the door. I get all these things. I get the emotion in every single scene, even if I don't entirely understand the bollocks that is spewing out of their mouths at all times.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
it's always, I'm always along for the ride, even though I'm like, I don't know what is going on at times. I'm sitting there trying to figure it out in my mind. I'm still enjoying what I'm reading because
That's it.
I think it is, you get the emotion.
I'd love to. I should actually go back and read Final Crisis at some point, because I read that very early on in my comic reading career, if you will, and I'm curious now that I've read a lot more. If I go back, will I follow it much better than I did the first time? I imagine I will.
I think you will. I think it's still hard to follow because it's
Morrison. Yeah.
So it's like intentionally hard, but
I just not only have I just read more comics since then, so I'm just better at reading comics, but just the idea that I think when I first read Final Crisis, I'd never read a New God story or anything like that, so it was just like,
right, yeah,
you know, it was
okay.
like,
who's all this?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah.
So no, just that's well, that's what
I will say my biggest problem with this issue is they teased the shit out of me with Metal Men and then didn't even give me any.
I mean, they're there.
Yeah, but they don't do anything. They're not even awake. They just stand there.
Hey, sleeping is still existing, so therefore they are there.
Look, I acknowledge they are there. I wanted them in action. Is that too much to ask for?
I mean, beyond the art being very erratic because it's jumping between so many artists, I don't know, like, beyond my general kind of, like, unfriendliness to the reader that Morrison comics seem to be, I don't know what I'd really criticise all that much in it.
No, I agree. I think it's hard to wrap your head around, but I think it's well told in what it's doing. It's intentionally complicated.
Yeah.
But that's not really a criticism. It's hard to complain that when it's okay, you kind of know what you're getting when Morrison's on a book. That's his thing, and a lot of people like that. I like that a lot of the time. So it's hard to say, oh, this is bad because of that, when it's just okay, that's just his style.
I like it more in something like this. I think for me, like when I'm missing, you know, I think he's a bit hit and miss for me. But when it's a miss, it tends to be because he's applying his crazy style to something I don't think really fits it. Like, you know, I was never a big fan of Return of Bruce Wayne. Like, you know, I love his Batman and Robin, right? And yeah. I quite enjoy the build up to R.I.P. and R.I.P. itself. But Return of Bruce Wayne, where he's traveling through time, and it's nothing but crazy ideas.
Yeah.
For 6 issues, and I'm like, it's not. This is not what I want from Batman, right?
No, I get that.
When you're doing this, you know, multiverses, 53rd Earth.
It's why, like, his Multiversity is potentially some of his greatest work, because that inherently is his idea that plays into his insanity.
Insanity is the word for it. There's nothing else I would use for it. But that said, he also wrote one of my favourite Batman stories of all time in Arkham Asylum. So, you know, clearly his craziness can apply, you know, if it is applied correctly to the property. Because that was all about insanity inside Arkham Asylum. So it kind of, you know, was this insane, almost Silent Hill-esque House of Horrors.
Still strangely more straightforward than most of his other work.
It is, but I think that's correct for Batman.
I agree. Unless it's this sort of Batman story where it's Batman's out of his depth with all this crazy shit.
Oh yeah, but Batman himself's not even in this issue though, unless we're counting the Dark Knights. But I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
But you know, it's a thing. But so I'm excited to see how the chimps factor in to the
Me too.
final
I can't
issue.
wait. Do you know what? This is one of those issues though where I'm going, should this have just been a regular issue of the book? Because when we get to issue 6, and the chimps show up, and you skipped this because you thought it was just a tie-in, you're gonna be like, where the hell did all the chimps come from?
What baffles me about this, though, is that this wasn't originally planned. This was added in late.
It was, yeah.
He said that on Twitter. This was the only thing that they added in that wasn't planned to begin with. They said, "Oh, we'll put in another one shot and give Capullo another month to finish up."
Yeah.
And
That's insane.
So, I mean, maybe they won't factor in as much as we think we do, but this feels like one of the biggest cliffhangers of the third book.
It does, and it amuses me that Morrison's only writing this. Like, they didn't approach him. Morrison came up and was like, "Hey, I want to be involved in this."
Yeah, he's like, "This is crazy shit. I want in."
Oh, yeah, exactly. And it's like, I get it. I understand why Morrison wants in on this. This is such a Morrison-esque event in general.
So no, maybe it'll lead to Morrison doing more stuff.
I would like a return for him to return to superheroes.
In the future. I don't know who I'd want him on specifically, but they could put him on something more.
Flash.
Flash.
I think he could do something really interesting on Flash.
Actually, I bet he could do a good Swamp Thing run.
He probably could.
Messing with all, like, sort of, instead of the multiverse, it's the green and the dark horror.
He'd definitely play into the green, the red, and the rot.
Yeah, he'd do all that shit. He would lap that right up.
He would, wouldn't he?
And that's how you launch a Swamp Thing book. You put Grant Morrison's name on it, and then, it's selling.
Well, that's the thing. You can put Morrison's name on anything, and it'll sell.
Pretty much.
Yeah, like anything reasonable, you're probably safe.
Kite Man by Grant Morrison.
I'd read the hell out of that. I really would.
Hey, I would legitimately try a Kite Man book by anyone at this point. I like Kite Man now. somehow Tom King's made me like Kite Man.
What a sentence. I like Kite Man now. Can you imagine saying that 2 years ago?
I think 2 years ago I probably didn't remember who Kite Man was.
This is a good point.
Oh dear. So there's some Dark Batman stuff in there. Like some of them seem to be doubting what they're doing.
Yeah, I can't remember which one was one of them. Like they actually were promised, we want to be heroes on our worlds again. So they're still thinking they're kind of doing this for some twisted, noble reason, rather than just, some of them are like, nah, we're evil, let's do evil shit.
Yeah. So various shades of dark, I suppose you could look at that. But hey, I don't know what else to say about the issue.
I liked Raven in this issue quite a lot.
No, Raven was given a prominent role. It felt like she wasn't being... It felt like she belonged to be with the Justice League more than Cyborg did.
It did, yeah.
She was pulling her weight.
Proving her worth, for sure.
Yeah, so that was nice to see. It was nice that... you obviously had Flash as well, the biggest hitter in the book in terms of main characters, but it was nice to see Raven and Detective Chimp getting some spotlight here and like them being driving forces of something.
Yeah, it's strange that Detective Chimp was the emotional core of the issue.
It was, because you were worried about him, losing his intelligence and going back to just being a chimp. Just
being a chimp, yeah. It was something I wasn't expecting going in. Not that I had any idea what to expect with this.
Well, I guess it's a representation of what the Dark Batmen are essentially trying to do. Is they're trying to take away humanity from all of the worlds, and how do you represent that more than taking away the literal humanity of something that otherwise shouldn't have it?
Definitely.
Chimp should just be a chimp, and so. And as per usual with stories, if you put an animal in danger, even one that's talking and sentient and all the rest of it, it still hits you a little bit more than any human beings would.
For some reason, that's true.
Do you know what it is? It's because I think at some level, human beings can understand if they're dying or whatever, that that's just the way it has to be, and they make their peace with it to an extent, even if they're scared. A cat or a dog, like they don't. You worry that they just don't understand why it's happening to them, and they're just scared.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
But hey, so I'm all for the Justice League of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, me too.
That's what I'm calling it. Justice League of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, well, I mean, those titles are all mouthfuls anyway, so
yeah, might as well. Which would be the GLP.
J. Justice League's a J, not a G.
I said J, did I not?
No, you said GL.
Oh, I was a slip of the tongue then. I meant J.
Yeah.
Yeah. JLPA. GLPA.
Doesn't roll off the tongue, does it?
Just a GLP? I call it the JLA because, I mean...
Well, no, you can't. JLPA just sounds like a that's a mouthful.
All right, let's move on. So that's Wild Hunt #1. Yeah, it was a trip.
Yeah,
By all means,
it's good for what it is.
Yeah, give us your thoughts and your opinions and your theories in the comments.
Did you manage to decipher it?
And the Twitters and whatnot. Please do. So, let's move on to Detective Comics 974, James Tynion IV, Phil Briones on art. This, of course, is following up the emotional cliffhanger of Clayface being shot in the head by Batwoman, and we kind of kick off right where that leaves off. And heartbreaking is a word, and the first half of the issue is pretty much just everyone reacting to Batwoman doing it. And Batman snapping the gun over his knee.
Yeah.
Quite a moment. You feel his anger. I like that.
Oh, definitely.
I like Tim.
He's shutting it down.
Yeah, I like Tim and Steph berating her, and I'm just kind of waiting the whole time, like, when is Cass coming up? Is Cass going to beat the everlasting shit out of her because she can? And she just gives her one punch, but it's a satisfying punch. It's kind of like, and this is not to say that I don't understand why Batwoman did it. I'm not actually necessarily villainizing her, but in terms of the Bat family, killing is a pretty big no-no. So Cass, with that emotional speech of, no, this symbol means more, and she rips it off. It's like, no, you're not this anymore. You can't be this anymore.
No, that's it. I get why Batman's on it. Like she points out, she was trained as a soldier. This is what she thinks is the right thing to do. And there's an argument that maybe it was the right thing to do.
No, there's definitely an argument. I think what this journey for Batwoman might be is that she maybe just shouldn't be Batwoman. Like, that symbol's not the right fit for her if this is how she thinks.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see if they actually have the balls to go that route and give her a new name.
Well, at the end of the issue, we get our suit with the colony logo on it.
Permanently, rather than just this being a little temporary thing.
Sure, yeah. I don't know what they'd call it, though, or what the...
I don't know. But, I mean, you'd have to rename her book as well.
Oh, you would, which is why it's not going to happen, but...
Yeah, which is a shame, but I'd hope it would.
Yeah, so... No, the emotion of Cass confronting her especially, and then you had Azrael and Batwing kind of sticking up for her, and it kind of felt like
of course they did, pair of chumps.
the core crew are like, well, you can leave too then because we don't abide by this. But then unfortunately Steph leaves as well because she sees Tim kind of breaking down. Tim's obviously starting to panic because is this what the start of the split was that future Tim was talking about? This was going to lead to everything that's happening. So Steph leaves. And hopefully not for too long, and hopefully I get my fun-loving Steph back at some point, because...
It's frustrating, because we only just got her back.
Yeah, she's been very serious, though, since
Tim died.
Since Tim died. It's all been very kind of dour and very... if not mourning his death, being anti-Batman or whatever, it's been, Tim, you're ruining your life. And now
it's kind of anti-Tim.
Yeah. And I love Steph, but, I mean, I love Steph because of who she is, typically. And that's who she was before Tim died, and obviously more so our Batgirl of years and some of her spoiler stuff from before that. But so hopefully, what I see happening here, hopefully, is that I feel like we're hearing rumors of some people replacing Tynion in the near future. He's getting on to his next arc, which is Batman Eternal, which sounds like it could be the last arc. It sounds very final.
It does, doesn't it?
And I'm wondering if he's going to reset the table a little bit. And I hope that doesn't mean just disbanding the team completely. I hope it reconfigures, boils it down to maybe the core members. But
yeah, I'm fine with losing Azrael and Batwing especially.
Yeah, I don't think... I feel like the number of people who actually really care about losing them is very minuscule.
I like Kate a lot, don't get me wrong. But I would like to see her maybe leave the team and Tim step up and be the leader.
Yeah, I think Batwoman going lone wolf into her own book and just sort of being over there makes a lot of sense given the plot right now.
Yeah, she can still pop up whenever, as she's often done in the past. But I feel like this maybe is a sign that maybe she's not right for this team, and we should be trying things without her for a bit in this book.
But I definitely want Cass and Steph to stick around. absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe did they bring in Harper full time? Does Duke kind of jump into detective?
Well, what do we do for the heavy now? Because obviously there's no Clayface right now.
Assuming we don't, bring him back quicker than I anticipate.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see where they go with this because they kind of go, no, he's straight up dead.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm intrigued to see what they do with it because I don't expect it to be dead permanently because it's comics, it's Clayface.
That's a good question.
I don't know. They do need someone heavy like that. They've not really got that role filled with the core members.
I'm just trying to think who they could, because they're all villains, unless they like pull someone in from a different family.
That could be interesting actually. Tim reaching out and going, "Hey, come and help us in Gotham."
I don't know who specifically, but I don't know who's a heavy.
I feel like this is where Matt would jump in with a certain name.
He doesn't exist though.
Oh, Tim will find him. Tim's got the name. He's going hunting.
He don't exist. I don't know. To be fair, like, Babs has not been on the team for whatever reason. They could always have. I don't know as the heavy, obviously. I'm not saying that.
No, but I just to go devil's advocate for bat on Matt's behalf. I think Connor Kent would be an interesting thing if Tim went. He's got the name and he does some digging and maybe he does exist and there's a reason why we don't know about him at this point. And kind of reaches out to him. I think that could be an interesting angle.
What if because he joins the Bat family first, he gets called Bat Boy instead? Do you think that'd upset Matt?
I think that would make Matt punch something. I don't know what is something big.
It's great. It's great. As far as a heavy, I don't know. Who's a heavy hero? Obviously, Kryptonians. I mean, I don't know if I see like Supergirl joining a Bat family.
Nah, I don't see it. I don't see the fit.
Swamp Thing would maybe work.
Well, that wouldn't be too bad.
Is the big muscle? You kind of got a sadness to him that kind of fits with the whole Dark Gotham vibe.
It does, yeah.
Maybe they bring him in at first to deal with an Ivy problem or something, like green versus green. I don't know.
Could be. I don't. It's not like I go, oh, the book needs shaking up, but I think it's due for a shake up. Just because it's like, okay, this has been working for a while, but I want to see him do something different.
That said, if when this detective run ends, like, I don't necessarily mind if they take away the team aspect of this, if the characters I care about do get another book. Like, if we get like I don't know, some sort of book with Steph and Cass in it, like a Batgirls plural book.
See,
or something.
that'd be great. I want my Tim fix as well. So as long as give Tim detective.
Maybe Batman's like, I don't know. Maybe it becomes like an all Robins book almost, where you got Tim, Dick, and Damien all there.
Yeah, there's an argument for doing rotating arcs of characters. Like, okay, so we'll do. Okay, here's a Tim story. Here's a a Steph story. Kind of just rotate through them, not necessarily with the other characters, but just have it showcase characters like that.
Yeah, they could. I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I mean, honestly, I kind of hope they just keep the team thing. I like having the Bat team.
I like the team as well, yeah. Don't get me wrong.
But there's a lot of things they could do that will work and will be good. So
yeah.
I can't. My only concern at this point is really losing certain characters that we just got back at the start of Rebirth, which admittedly has been like almost 2 years at this point. But still, I don't want to lose them. Here, obviously, we have to talk about the ending. Ulysses is working with Brother Eye, and he's trying to create the dark future that we know about.
Yes. I like it.
So that's a thing. It's happening. Little shit doing that.
I love that he's wearing a Batman top.
And the idea of setting him up as Tim's arch nemesis, I do kind of like the idea that he's trying to corrupt his future. And I wonder if, like, realizing that this has been manipulated by someone else is kind of something that helps Tim snap out of his, his downward spiral right now of thinking that everything's just screwed.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I'm really intrigued to see where Tim goes with this, because obviously we know he has to overcome it at some point. It's just how far does it get before he kind of draws the line.
Yeah, and I feel like I think that's what the book's building up to. I feel like it's what it's been building up to ever since he died. Like, that's Tynion had some sort of long game planned for this, and it feels like it's all kind of coming together.
definitely.
In that sense. So that was the big ending. Yeah, art was fine. It wasn't the standout, but
It was
did the job.
serviceable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I say, the emotion of Cass, and even just like Cass turning around and hugging Batman, and like Batman holding her and being like, "Right, Kate, you should go. You're excused." I'm like, "Oofed."
Well, that was it. She goes, "Excuse me," like really, come on, and she goes, "You're excused." So it was a great comeback.
I think what I liked about that scene is that I feel like they all reacted appropriately. Like, I feel like under no circumstance should these characters be okay with what she just did. Whether or not it's arguably the correct thing to do, I feel like none of them should be happy. They should be treating this so severely. Batman especially.
Yeah, definitely.
So it played true to the characters for me in that scene. So that's good. Alright, so we'll move on. We'll move on to Action Comics 997. We're getting really close to 1,000. I mean, I know that we know it's coming anyway, but it's just actually saying 997.
Three more issues.
Yeah. So this was Dan Jurgens writing, and Brett Booth back on the art for Action Comics.
Bloody hell. I mean, I dropped Titans to avoid this prick. I mean, that's not the only reason I dropped Titans, but it didn't help.
I mean, on the upside, you're getting a big relaunch in about 4 issues' time, so he won't be on it past that.
Piss off.
At the very least. So, yeah, so Superman's in Zod's new Krypton. Him and Booster are fighting. They get captured. Skeets gets blown up, and all the Zods and their soldiers all use their heat vision to blast them. And that's basically all the Superman stuff.
So much red.
A lot of red. And then there's a lot more of this issue devoted to the Lois side this time, where Lois is breaking in to get her father out. And John actually makes his presence known, saves her from a gunman with the heat vision. And then she has to try and explain to her father why her young son is here with her, all while not telling him that he's also superpowered, because General Lane doesn't know that Clark is Superman, and as she puts it in narration, never will. So,
yeah.
You know.
Although, and John's just like, hey, it's fine, I got this.
Yeah. Part of me actually does kind of want a story at some point where General Lane just finds out that his daughter's married to Superman.
I do as well. I think he'd take it better than expected.
You think?
I think he might do, being as like, okay, well, it's family. He strikes me as a very a family man, you know, like, okay, no, I'll put that above the other obligations to some degree.
Okay. And then we have a shock ending in which they get gunned down in the forest as they're trying to escape. And it actually looks like there's blood coming from both Lois and her father. Like, they both have like bullet holes, and they have blood coming. Obviously, John's bulletproof, so he's probably fine. This feels like a shock cliffhanger for the sake of a shock cliffhanger for me, because we know Lois is not dead.
Yeah, I will say there was notably no blood pools. There was just on their shirt and like on the general's arms. Yeah, but there was no pool on the floor.
There was like 4 or 5 bullet holes in each of their chests, or their backs, wherever way line up they were.
One of each. One on the front, one on the back.
Well, there you go.
And John's on his side.
Oh, the variety. That's when Booth sat down to draw this page, he was like, you know what, I'm going to have a variety of positions here.
Yes. I'll be honest though, John looks in a very unnatural pose.
The Brett Booth.
Oh yeah, I've got words on unnatural poses in a minute.
So it was a mediocre issue. I feel like it didn't advance the new Krypton stuff that much, and then the stuff with I've not really been feeling the Lois stuff saving her father pretty much the entire arc.
It's not working for me. I like Lois going out and getting into trouble, but not I'm gonna go into a military zone and take out all these soldiers' trouble.
Yeah, it makes her feel almost like she's very capable. I always want Lois to be capable, but she's Steven Seagal capable here, which is weird. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like I get Lois running around, you know, getting into scraps, getting, you know, okay, I'm in trouble now. I'll get myself out of it. That's kind of a thing.
Yeah, she's kind of like
a war zone.
Yeah. Yeah, she's running around like she's John McClane or Steven Seagal. Instead, I expect her to be sort of sneaking around, and if she gets caught, trying to like talk her way out of it or something. You know,
I always expect her inevitably get caught and have to worm her way out of it.
Yeah,
but that doesn't work when they're just going to shoot you.
Exactly, and you have this shock ending where it looks like they've been shot to death, and how they're going to explain the bullet holes in their like all over their backs and not be dead, I don't know, but
that's the thing. Can't even say bulletproof vests because
you see the skin to the
You
holes.
see, yeah, exactly. You see skin, you see blood.
I guess you say they weren't lethal rounds; they were just rubber bullets. So they'd make a hit and make you bleed, but they wouldn't.
I guess.
That's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head.
It's sure, but that wouldn't make sense from the dialogue of the guy shooting at them.
What did you say?
He shoots at them. They're all blasted, and then he says, "Enough. After all, you can only kill them once."
All right, I got nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to weasel the way out of it next issue with little effort, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Either that,
they're just going to go back in time.
Yeah, either that, or Clark's going to go back before Lois leaves, or before she gets shot.
Not because that's the easy choice. Yeah, I hate it.
Not because he knows something bad's going to happen to her necessarily, just because he goes back to when he left, and it's
I do feel that's probably the most likely choice, but I really don't like it. It feels cheap.
If it does feel cheap, and here's the weird way around it though, is because it's not him just going back to save someone, like, and being selfish. He's just going back to when he should return to.
Right, but that makes this plot all the more pointless seeming.
Yeah, it's just there to be like, oh, they died. How could they possibly be saved? Oh wait, Superman's been running around in a time machine.
Exactly. It doesn't take a genius to figure out it, does it?
Yeah, not feeling it. And obviously the art was Brett Booth, which we've spoken about before.
Okay. Worst page.
Alright, go on.
It's the big full page splash where Zod appears and he's doing some weird pose standing over the bodies of Superman and Booster. And no one stands like that. What like Eradicator's behind him, just stood there being found. Why is Zod doing this thing? He's just jumped out and gone, hey, look at me.
Hold on,
It's I don't get it.
I am in pursuit of the page to.
It's not too far in. About.
No, I'm here. Yeah, I guess it's.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. As I get, you're doing an entrance pose, but usually those are justified. This is just he jumps in, he's just stood there, over the bodies. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. It kind of just looks wrong.
I mean,
he has huge quads. Look at those legs.
I can't defend it. It doesn't. I mean, it just kind of fits into the general Brett Booth look to me, I guess.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
But look at Zod's left leg. Our right, his left.
Yeah, I admit it's on the contorted and bulky side. There's not.
It's like the size of a cow.
Ah, dear. Shall we move on?
I really don't like Booth, but yeah, go on.
Let's move on. To Wonder Woman, number 40, James Robinson writing with Carmen Carnero, sorry. I've missed an R in my text. Let me put that in. Carmen Carnero and Emanuela Lupacchino on the art. So this is the final of the Silver Swan story, which... The Silver Swan stuff in it I've enjoyed, although I feel like the ending's a bit rushed.
I don't get the ending.
She flies her into the ocean and then she's fine.
I don't understand. Like, she drowns it. Like, cause that was the way it seemed like the plan was. Because she waits for it to scream, and it's like, all the air in your lungs is gone because you just expelled it. Into the water we go. And then she's fine. Like, she's just fine.
Yeah, she gets her to calm down, and she brings her out and says, okay, let's take her to the hospital. The more exciting part, I guess, is the hint of Dr. Psycho at the end, where you see that he's actually in the hospital, he's involved, and he's keeping an eye on her. So that's exciting. I liked his stuff in Rucka's pre-New 52 run.
Mm.
So that's pretty cool. Commandos are still, with Steve fighting for the artifacts that the Furies are after, so that's still going on.
Yep.
And then other than that, it's basically Jason decides that he's going to leave. They hinted that he might be dead on the cover, which was cruel.
From the end of last issue, I was hoping to. This last few issues is how many times can we tease Jason pissing off?
And he does piss off at the end, but he pisses off by leaving a note and saying that he wants to go and find himself.
Right, but then he gets taken, right?
Yeah, he gets taken by something.
Some purple energy cloud.
Yes. So we're going to have to save him at some point.
But do we? Because Diana doesn't know that he's taken.
Oh yeah, she won't for a while. She won't for a while, but this is going to. He's not done this without knowing it's going to come back up.
My hope here is we get a new permanent writer before Robinson has to get around to this.
I don't think that's happening though. I feel like by the end of the next arc we'll find out. In fact, worst case scenario, all through the next arc we keep cutting to Jason and what he's doing and where he's captured.
See, do you know what? That's terrified me, because I was about to say the best thing about this is we at least have a little while without him in this book.
It's going to keep cutting to him in a cell somewhere being tortured or something.
Do you know what the worst part is?
Yeah.
I think you might be right, and I didn't consider that, and I hate it. Please no. I just want a break from this prick.
The art was pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, it is.
All the action was good. I just wish it focused on Silver Swan. I did like the Dr. Psycho hint. It's a shame though that's been hinted in Robinson's run rather than waiting for a better writer to do it. But
yeah, see that's the thing. Robinson's stuff hasn't been bad outside of Jason though. Like everything not to do with Jason has been pretty solid. I mean, this has been a bit rushed at the end.
Which is Silver Swan and nothing else basically.
Yeah, but even the stuff that was in the Jason arc where he wasn't around, like the Grail and Darkseid issue.
Oh, that one issue, the one issue flashback story about Grail.
The other bits where it was Wonder Woman at the start of the arc before Jason was there, that was pretty good.
But he's like this noose. It's around the neck of the run, and it's just strangling it.
No, I agree.
So it's hard to be super positive in that. It wasn't it wasn't a terrible issue. It like all the Jason stuff we hate. We want him gone, and then the Silver Swan stuff, which we were enjoying, did have a kind of a rushed, oh no, it's over kind of feeling to it. Art was nice. Dr. Psycho hint was cool.
Not the worst issue, but far from the best.
Yeah, if you don't know who Dr. Psycho is, by the way, he's a telepath, so he's inside the head of the Doctor, presumably at the end there when you see him in the reflection. Yes. The idea that he's the one controlling him at that point. So there you go. That's short and sweet, but not a whole lot to say on Wonder Woman this month or this week. That'll take us on, however, to The Flash, number 40. Joshua Williamson writing, Carmine D. Giandomenico on the art, and oh baby, I don't know if you're as positive on this as I am, but oh baby,
I'm pretty positive. I got Giandomenico back on art, so
yeah. But so we love the annual, set up a bunch of great stuff. Yep. Of course, with Wally. Then we pretty much all like 700 as well. 39. You know what I mean? That milestone issue. With Grodd, you felt menacing. It's paying off in all these different threads that have popped up. Avery's in the book and everything, along with young Wally, and it's all going off. And this issue is the first half of it's mainly just Grodd with Barry, and he eventually takes his power. The Mina and Regine, what do we pronounce his name? Raijin, there you go. Hook him up and drain him of his speed force. And Grodd then, he's basically taunting him. You see, sort of flashes of his life, and he's like, you don't want everyone to know that without the powers, without the Flash, you're nothing. Those
two double-page spreads where you got Barry along the bottom losing his power, and then the top in that purple glow of the flash of his life, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah. Which I think it's meant to be negative speed force or something like that. That's why it's tinted purple. That's what I was
I think so.
Getting from it. But then Grodd, in his flying chair, takes him up into the sky above Central City and just drops him. And he feels so helpless. And obviously, Kid Flash and Avery are running around trying to help, but not doing a great job of it. And original Wally shows up and catches him. He saves him. He saves the day. It's a nice big moment. It's like, oh yes, original Wally. Awesome. Yeah. And he even references that he saw everything going on from Keystone. It's like, oh yeah, alright, he's over there, like I said he'd be. There's a little bit in that in Titans this week as well, which I'll mention when I get there.
See, that's interesting. This is you see the end of the Flash annual. Mm-hmm. Him running here at the end, I thought that was almost the exact moment from the end of that.
Oh really?
I was wondering. Because that ends with him running across the city, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It was the annual that did that, wasn't it? Or was that 700? I'm getting confused now. I thought it was the annual that ended with Wally, running out across the city in the costume.
I can't remember.
Okay, fair enough.
I can't remember which one it was. It doesn't really matter, really. But...
It doesn't, but with the caption box that said "See the annual," I thought, oh, this is that exact same moment almost.
Yeah, it may very well be. But he shows up, he catches him, and Barry's like, crap, I have no powers. Grodd thinks he's won. Luckily, though, Central City has a Flash, and he's like, it's you. And we end on a page where Wally West is once again Prime Flash.
Yes. Yeah.
And obviously it's not going to be permanent, it's a temporary thing, but it's exciting. He's back in Keystone.
I mean, you say that, it might be permanent come the end of Flash War.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Surely Barry's get his powers back for Flash War, though.
Oh, he must do. They'll find a way to give him some.
I'm assuming he's going to have them back by the end of this arc, and we'll have a nice big... We'll have all 4 speedsters running together side by side in a big double-page spread by the end of this arc. I guarantee it.
That sounds very likely.
Yeah, I'm willing to put money on it right now.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty issue. I'm loving... Obviously, I'm excited what it's doing with Wally. I love that it's making original Wally a main part of the book, a main supporting character.
Finally.
Yeah, it feels like
it's only taken 40 issues.
Yeah, but it feels like he's actually around. You know, obviously the Flash Annual kind of started that, and it's made him feel like he's really part of the core cast now, which is great. And then but it doesn't do it at the expense of Avery, or I mean even Avery's like kind of not always around, but it's nice that she's popping back in and out.
Yeah, she has some common sense in her, and grabbing Kid Flash to get out there. I'm distinguishing the Wallies that way for now.
Kid Flash and
Wally.
Kid Flash and Wally, yeah, for just for reference. But no, I had a blast with this. I think it continued the momentum of the last issue. I didn't feel like it slowed down, and I'm not making puns here. The point I'm making is that sometimes you'll have the big milestone issue, and then it feels like it slows right down the next issue as it starts to like build things up. I felt like this just completely kept moving. I
feel like often, especially this is a part 2 of a story, and part 2s are often some of the most sluggish parts. But this is no full steam ahead. Because
they usually want to give you a big bombshell in the first issue to keep you hooked, and then the second issue has to deal with a lot of the details that they kind of maybe brushed over in the first issue because they wanted to get to the big bombshell moment, and then it starts to sort of build more properly from maybe the third part onwards. But no, this felt like it just kept going. It felt like we built up to the meeting Grodd the entire last issue, and we just got him at the end of the issue. So it made sense to me to devote almost half the issue to just Grodd, like, talking to him. There's just that monologue, essentially.
And Grodd has a hell of a presence in this.
Oh, he does, yeah. Because he takes his speed and he's like, that's not enough, bring me the other speedsters. Like, he's ready to, like, take them on. A lot of apes this week in my comics.
There is. I'm down for it.
More later as well.
You literally just turn on the first page of this, and you get a big ape face.
Yeah. He's menacing, he's intimidating. It's exciting to have Wally back in the main picture, if you will. So,
how we feel about Raijin?
He's alright. He's just kind of Grodd's henchman. I'm not
he is at the minute. It's kind of plot device, but he has such a cool design that I kind of let it slide a little bit more.
I like Mina more because I think Mina has the personal connection, it feels more like a hit dramatically. So
definitely.
So he's the least interesting out of the group, but he's fine. Like, I have no complaints necessarily.
No, cool. So it's a solid issue.
No, really good. Flash, I think with 700 in the annual, we're probably back-to-back 2 of the best issues of the entire run, and I think this is continuing that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. It's really hitting its stride now, isn't it?
Yeah, hitting its stride. Picked up some momentum.
We're all in on these puns this week for some reason.
Yeah.
We usually don't bother, surprisingly.
It's racing ahead, full steam.
I already did full steam, sorry.
So sorry.
Well, come on, be original. Be original with your quick puns.
It's electric. The book's electric right now. It's got energy. It's a driving force.
Yeah, Speed Force, bro.
But no, really, really good. Look forward to the next issue. And I hope Williamson, now that he's like really, really hitting his stride, I'm like, I hope this goes to, like King's going to 100 with Batman. He keeps saying,
I want 100 from this. Now.
Yeah, Williamson, just keep going. Get to 100. Just do the whole thing. Yeah. It's great. And he seems to love it and be into it. Like, I wonder if holding original Wally back this long was just part of like, no, that's a treat when I've like done a lot of other stuff. Like, I don't want to get to it yet.
I wonder if he didn't want it to be seen as a crutch.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I feel like if he'd brought this in at the start, people would have loved it. Because, hey, Wally. but I wonder if he wanted to prove himself on his own terms. As no, I can tell a Flash story.
When you look at everything he's using right now, Mina, original character set up by him, hero first, turn bad, all that. August set up, Godspeed. Then he's actually on a bit of a more redemptive sort of path right now. Like, there's so many things that he set up early on that have kind of grown and been part of this overall story. And he's dealt with Iris, he's dealt with young Wally. It feels like it's almost the right time to start, like, okay, right, I've set up all my other things, so now let's bring in original Wally and see what we do with him.
Yeah, and obviously the fact that he is so prominent at DC going forward, he's involved with all the events and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's one of the writers on No Justice.
Yeah, it makes me think, okay, no, he might stick around on Flash for a while. He'll be like what he's in position with, King and obviously Snyder to be, oh no, we're going to champion the big long runs and be on books for a long time.
What was funny, actually, when the first No Justice images came out with the teams, and our friend James said, who's to say that's Barry in the Flash suit? That could be Wally. And I was like, I wish it was, but you're dreaming. After this issue, I'm like, well, it's not entirely impossible.
I know that's possible, but I still don't want it, because that means we have to give him a traditional Flash suit, and I don't want that.
Really?
Yeah, I really like this suit. I like that it differentiates him a bit more.
I like the suit, but if there's only one of them, I'm actually all for just a more traditional Flash suit.
No, I like him doing his own thing and be like, no, this is more me.
You just want the ginger hair out.
That helps. I'm not gonna lie.
You just want the ginger hair floating in the wind as he's running.
That helps, but I like that he differentiates. No, I'm still the Flash, but I'm doing it, slightly differently. I'm doing it my way rather than just using the exact same costume. He's taking the idea.
Do you know what I think the suit needs, though? Goggles.
Really?
Yeah, Kid Flash with goggles. I like the goggles look.
Okay. I'm not opposed to goggles.
I think it would just complete the ensemble.
Yeah. Do you think goggles with the red?
Yeah.
I don't know if goggles go so well with the red.
Well, don't make them yellow goggles then. Make them stand out as being different. Maybe not yellow, because he's not got any yellow on his suit, but the silver or whatever he's got.
The bluey white.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. That's the Flash. We'll move on to Supergirl number 18. Jody Houser and Steve Orlando writing. Carmen Carnero, that was that name again, on art. So this was the end of this arc, and we left the last issue at school dance, and this villain showed up called the Evolutionist, and Supergirl's like, oh crap, I need to try and run and change out to Supergirl. I'm in this dress, I need to go and get changed. And Agent Ochamp is there, and she's watching out. And she actually, during the whole fight and all the chaos, she actually looks over at Belinda, the girl that Ben's there on a date with, is like, hey, she thinks it's her, she thinks she's Supergirl. She's like, hey, why aren't you doing something? Help, god damn it. And Supergirl, actually, we get a really classic 2-page layout of Supergirl getting into a photo booth and changing into Supergirl in the photo booth. And one of during the page, you get the film strip of her at different stages during the transformation.
That's cool.
Really cool page. I liked it a lot. But she fights Evolutionist, and we get Evolutionist's backstory, where she's from an alien planet, where these aliens who claim to come and help came, but they unknowingly actually brought a disease that was harmless to them but was dangerous to her planet and killed their entire planet. So she's actually been convinced to take out Supergirl because she sees Supergirl as ruining this planet for everyone else. And I actually really, the design of Evolutionists is just whatever, it's kind of generic, but I actually really like the way the fight ended, because Supergirl basically lets her kind of tap into her head and sees the end of the first arc where she was fighting the cyborg Supermen. And it's the moment where she's like, hey, I'm not here to improve them, we're improving each other. And it's this idea, she's Evolutionists never considered the idea that Supergirl's not changing the world, she's letting the world change her. And I actually really like that idea, that she's letting everyone around her, improve her as well. So there's a really nice sort of sentiment in there as well. And they set up some big stuff at the end. Kara and Ben have some nice moments. They walk on the beach after the dance and have their first kiss. And it's all kind of sweet. She gets all kind of heartfelt with him, because he basically disses Supergirl, and she looks all moody about it. But then he starts complimenting her. So it's actually kind of the opposite of the Lois and Clark thing, where he's really into Kara, but he's really not that fussed about Supergirl. But it makes her feel good because it's the first time that anyone's ever said nice things about Kara specifically.
Of course,
she's never had like someone like, oh, you're Kara, you're amazing because you do all these things that are normal, and not because you're Supergirl. And you know that's kind of what leads to the kiss, and they end up falling asleep on the beach. Yeah, there's a nice moment. It's a nice kind of into the arc. There's a big tease at the end though, because scientist lady, I forget her name. She basically figures out like all the tech that's been used that Director Bones for the DEO has been using for the all these villains that he's been brainwashing into helping try and track down Supergirl. It turns out that there's a new god behind it.
Oh, okay.
Makari, one of the evil scientists from Apocalypse, shows up at the end. Big cliffhanger. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm digging this.
Sounds fun.
Evil mad scientist from Apocalypse. I'm down with this. And I'm also down with Bones. I've been excited about him ever since he popped up. And I like the stuff with the Champa. After like Supergirl gets rid of Evolutionist, Agent of Champa comes up and is like, okay, you're under arrest, Supergirl. It's like, really? You're going to arrest me here even though we're kind of both on the same side? And she kind of lets her fly off. And it's just, again, it's just building this, like, she's supposed to take her in, but she knows she shouldn't. Like, so there's a nice bit of humanity building in there as well. No, I thought this was a solid end to the arc. Obviously, this arc's easily been the strongest that the book's had. And I was happy to see in the last one, because there's another guest co-writer next issue, and then Jody Houser's back for the one after that. So,
yeah, I wonder if Houser's busy, because I know she's doing. She's just started a new book at Marvel, the new Star Wars book.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, and she's doing Renew Your Vows over at Marvel, which I don't think it's lasting much longer, admittedly, but.
That's the thing I was just wondering, because that's just started, so I wonder if as she was starting up on that, she had to miss a month of this.
And she's doing a Doctor Who book soon, so.
Oh really?
Oh, you didn't hear about this?
Oh no, tell me more.
Oh, I only know this because James was ranting and raving about it in old capital letters. But she's doing the new Doctor. She's doing like the Adventures of the 13th Doctor for, I think, Titans does the Doctor Who books.
This sounds amazing.
So she's done that.
When does this start?
Well, they announced it, so I assume April or May. Something like that in there.
I can't wait. It has my money already.
But hey, but I hope she sticks around in Supergirl. I hope the fact that it's a co-writing job means that she can divvy her time up. Because I think the Spider-Man book's ending, so if she's doing...
See, this thing, with it being a co-writing, I assume she's doing all the scripting, and Orlando's just doing the plotting at this point.
Possibly.
I mean, with multiple co-writers coming on, it feels like, because there's someone else next issue. To me, that says Orlando's plotting it, and then he's giving the plot to someone to script, which is obviously the longer part of the job.
I hope she stays. I think she had a really positive effect in the book.
Good.
And I hope that continues. But hey. No, but I really like this issue, so...
glad to hear it.
Yeah. So that takes us on to something else. I mean, obviously Matt's not here, otherwise Matt would be talking to me about these books. But we also have New Superman and the Justice League of China number 20. So this is the first one with a new name.
Yeah. It's a little annoying Matt's not here because I have an obligation to listen and kind of
you have to facilitate the conversation a little bit.
Yeah. And whereas usually I can especially this one where I'm planning on reading it at some point, I intentionally kind of tune out.
Oh no, you're getting details this week.
I know. It's annoying.
You're getting details this week.
Damn it, Matt, you prick.
So, not only do we have the Lantern Corps of China, is what they're calling themselves. They show up.
I've missed so much.
They show up to arrest the Justice League of China, who are now gone rogue. They're just on their own as the Justice League. All right. Delaney and Bakshi are a proper couple now, to the point where Avery's like cracking jokes that she doesn't want to hang out with them because it's like being around a romantic comedy. There's even some fun stuff. They're skiing. They're on like a little ski break, and at one point Delaney's like, "Hey, giant panda," and Bakshi's like, "I'd kill anyone else for calling me that, but from you it's kind of cute." And she's like, "No, giant panda." There's a guy in a panda suit at the bottom of the ridge. But good stuff. It turns out it's an evil guy, and chaos happens, and the team come in to fight. Keenan ends up with having kind of a new power where he punches them so hard that it kind of like creates like a reaction, and it's like, oh, how did I do that?
A reaction. What does the reaction do?
it's kind of like a explosion of white light as he punches him, and it's like
a shockwave.
Kinda. It's hard to explain, but he goes into his mind, you know, into meditates and talks to yin and yang, and tries to figure that stuff out.
I've definitely missed a lot on this book.
I Ching being one of them, and then he's opposite being the other.
Okay.
You've missed a lot, but this is all going on, and it's setting stuff up. But the fun of the book has always been the characters, and the stuff in this one is great because you got Keenan, who is trying to not be a douchebag this issue. So he keeps like almost saying a really douchebaggy thing, and then stopping himself and going, "No, I'm glad you're okay, Batman," and like stuff like that. And like Avery's like basically edging him on, trying to like make him like slip,
make him be a dick.
Yeah, and he ends up kissing her because they're having this like weird awkward tension at one point, and he ends up kissing. He's like, "Oh, you're so predictable, Keenan," and he kisses her. He's like, "Oh, how predictable is that?" And she's like, "Ugh," and they keep like having this more awkward tension as it goes on, and he's like, "Oh, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to do that." He's like, "Yeah," and then he says something really douchebag. He's like, there's the Keenan I know and love. Did I say love? I didn't mean love. And so there's just this fun back and forth with that. And that's kind of what's going on. The actual real excitement of the book, though, is that the other plot going on in this issue is it's setting up the Aquaman of North Korea.
I didn't know that this is where this book was going.
Aquaman of North Korea. So, you know how the books normally, it's got black text, but every so often there'll be some English and that'll be in blue? Korean's in red. So we had some red text in this issue. And this kid is taken out of class by the government to be questioned. He doesn't know why. And you sort of tell him when he sweats, he gets really wet. Like, he actually starts sweating water, essentially, you know, a lot of water, like more than what people do.
I was going to say, people do tend to...
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it's actually, like, they actually draw a lot of water, like, dripping from him as he's sweating, because he's nervous. And they question him because he's got a TV that's been rigged up to receive transmissions from outside the country, which, you know, is a big no-no, being North Korea. And we actually see at the start, he's like drawing what looks like it's about to be Homer Simpson, just enough that they don't have to clear it for copyright, but you can just tell that's what he's about to start drawing. Like he's done a bit of the head and the eyes, and he's getting there.
The round at the top, is it?
Yeah. And basically, like, why have you got a TV to get transmissions from outside the country? He's like, I like cartoons. There's this one thing about a yellow family, and he's like, the son's very funny. He always says, what was the phrase? He says, something about have a cow man or something like that. One of Bart's old dumb phrases, and they're like, and he starts laughing about it, but they basically start beating him up. They start attacking him for going against the state, and his water powered. He keeps more water keeps thinking, and then a big giant crab monster comes out of the water and is like, "Hey, come with me." And the end of the book is that the Justice League get a call that there's something from the North Korean border, and they get there and there's big giant crabs, and they're like, big giant crabs. So that's a big cliffhanger for the next issue. This book is fantastic. I love everything about it.
I have no idea what I just listened to, but it sounds awesome.
Characters are great. I'm loving the Lantern Corps being this automated police force for the for Dr. Omen and her crew, and I like the build of this Aquaman. Way more than I thought I would.
What is DC doing when we have a book where we're getting a North Korean Aquaman, and that's a success?
I love it so much. And then the just all the characters, like I love Baxter and Lane. I love that they're building like Keenan and Avery, which is a very antagonistic relationship, but you can tell there's some chemistry there. So did the whole thing. I love it. New Superman's great. Get New Superman, support it, please. It's fantastic.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Sideways #1, which is the next book from the DC or the new age of DC heroes. Dark Matter. I liked it better.
One day you'll get that right the first time.
They called it Dark Matter originally, and it was better because it was just a nice, easy title. But hey, whatever.
It was.
All right.
So we're 50-50 on them before this, between us, really.
Are we?
Well, Damage was kind of but me and you were quite positive on Silencer.
Oh, true. Yeah, we like Silencer.
So I'd say 50-50. This is being the third one.
Yeah, Sideways. This is he's kind of Spider-Man-y, but he he basically creates tears in reality to jump through them to teleport. That's basically what he's doing. And so Dan Didio and Justin Jordan are the writers on this, and then Kenneth Rocafort's on the art. And this issue kind of takes its time to kind of introduces to him his best friend Ernie. Derek's the name of the kid who's got the powers, who's sideways. And introduces to them, it gives us a little bit of a flashback to explain. And this is the one that's the most tied into Metal so far, because it actually sets up that he got his powers because he was in Gotham when the Mountain appeared back in the start of Metal. So, okay, alright, so that ties in. We see him at class, and then we see that he keeps jumping around because he wants to be in his suit. And basically starts to hear this voice, and then this godlike entity is not happy that he's ripping holes in the space-time continuum. So he shows up at the end, which I thought was weird that was the preview from all the... Remember when it was at the end of all the books, you had previews for these?
Yeah, I never looked at any of them, though.
Yeah, the preview was the end of the book. It was this, godlike entity showing up at the end, which I thought was really strange.
I get it. They wanted to tell you what the hook of the series is, rather than what the first issue is.
Very strange. For me, though, the hook of a series like this is the character stuff. It's the teen drama. It's him and his friend. That's the stuff I care about.
I appreciate that in general, but I think when you're selling it with those previews, which are essentially your trailer, you go, okay, here's the action. Here's what the big thing is.
To be fair, though, I always complain that the trailers focus on the wrong things as well, but,
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, so it's setting up that whole, he's hiding from his parents don't know he's got a power, so it's doing that whole thing. Much like the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, in which Joyce Summers did not know her daughter was a Slayer.
I'm surprised we last as long as we did today.
So how did you feel about it? Did you like it?
I think it's alright. I don't love it. I think it's way too wordy. There's there's just far too much dialogue for what's going on, and it doesn't feel like it needs it.
I think it's going for that really chatty teen kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's not working for me, that stuff. It's just too much.
It didn't bother me too much. It could get a lot with more issues. I kind of like Derek and his friend Ernie. They seem nice.
Yeah, they seem fine. I don't really have a big sense of them. There's not too much of them.
They're fairly likeable.
Who they are, really.
There's not a whole lot in it, yeah. It's kind of just slaying the ground. I think this is the problem when you've got a new series about a completely new character and concept, is that you like, I feel like it can never be actually that engrossing, unless they just decide not to do any of the explaining in the first issue and just give you like a moment, which is kind of, I guess the Silencer kind of did that, because it kind of put you into the midst of this action scene where it was like, okay, what's, there's tension here.
I think I learned a lot about the Silencer through context of it as the issue went on, rather than it just telling me everything, whereas this kind of just goes through it and goes, this is what's going on, this is what this kid is. I
think that's fair. I think this was better than Damage, though.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Better than Damage. Not as good as Silencer, although I feel like the concept of this has more potential than Silencer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that.
I'm down to read another issue, though. It didn't put me off reading more. And checking out, see how it progresses in issue 2. Especially since like actually talking to this big god guy and maybe seeing, where that leads.
Yeah, might be fun. See, I want to see how he interacts with a figure like this.
And then maybe we'll get more of the hiding from the parents next issue and sort of see how that's going to play out, and like, what is he actually? Because right now, like, the plot is basically this thing's upset that he's doing what he's doing. What actually is the plot when he starts to like stopping bad things from happening? Is he saving people? What's he doing?
I think that's part of my concern with this. Not necessarily the book as a whole, but it'll be this opening arc. It might have started too big.
Yeah, it may have been better to give him an arc first where he's just been a hero and saving people, and then have someone show up and say, hey, you can't be doing this for these reasons.
Yeah, show me him in action. I mean, we see him jumping around a bit. We don't see him do anything, really.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to see him in action, see what he can actually do.
Yeah. But I'm relatively hopeful. I think right now it's too early to call one way or the other.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there's potential there. And we'll see what it does. Obviously, the art's pretty good. Rocafort's really solid.
Rocafort is solid.
Yeah. It means he's not on Red Hood anymore, so...
It does.
It's an upgrade.
It does. That said, Soy's alright, so...
Yeah, Red Hood keeps getting good artists for some reason. It just keeps happening. Don't know why. But yeah, no, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. I think there's potential. Again, it's mostly the idea of a good teen book, because I read Blue Beetle for a while and I kind of fell out of it for whatever reason. It just the plot wasn't good enough to kind of keep me in.
I think that's my worry with this one as well. Like it's a pretty decent issue, but I'm a little disappointed and underwhelmed based on what I wanted out of the book off the gate.
Yeah.
but it's not a bad issue by any means.
Yeah. Just a little bit underwhelming, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe that's why we liked Silencer that bit more, because we had really quite low expectations for that going in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we'll read issue 2 and see how it grabs us with that. Yeah. Obviously, the next issue 1 we're getting is Terrifics at the end of the month. So.
Oh, obviously very excited for that one.
Yeah, obviously very excited. So hopefully Lemire does not disappoint.
Lemire never disappoints when he puts his mind to it.
See, that's that last part that I worry about, when he puts his mind to it.
I would agree, but this is his, kind of his big return to DC.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting his mind to this.
This is his Fantastic Four.
This is what Marvel wouldn't let him do.
Yeah, Marvel said no to this, and he's like, oh, fine then. Hey, DC, can I do a Fantastic Four book? I'll just pick some different characters and go for it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
There's my Mr. Fantastic, there's my Thing, there's my Invisible Girl.
That's how I know he's putting his mind into this, because this is something he wanted to do and wasn't allowed.
That's a solid
rather
line of
than
thinking.
just DC have pitched it to him and gone, hey, do you want to do this?
Alright, well, that'll take us on. I'm going to talk about Titans 18 a little bit. Obviously, I've not spoken about Titans for a little while.
18? I thought it was on like 20.
No, 18 this week. I think the last time I spoke about this was maybe like 5 issues ago, something like that. 4 or 5 issues ago. Because it was like right in the middle of that arc where it felt like every issue was a fight because with this future Donna Troy. Last issue, the Titans kind of were forced to disband by the Justice League because, like, hey, this might end badly because there's future versions of you coming and causing chaos, which seems very hypocritical from the Justice League. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. There's never been anything bad from their end, has there?
Especially since right now in the Justice League book, it's like all about how their existence has been manipulated and used for bad things. So like I don't know where they get off and being on this high horse, but whatever. So this issue is
just understands the Justice League better than Abnett, clearly.
Possibly. Yeah, that's the thing though. I feel like I don't know if this was Abnett's choice though.
I don't know. I will concede that it might not be on this one. Because
I wonder, it feels kind of like maybe this is laying the groundwork for all the changes that are maybe going to happen when No Justice kicks in.
Here's what I'll say is, the team disbanding may not have been his choice. It may have been like, okay, you got to do this. This has kind of got to go that direction. But I feel like using the Justice League and their justification for it was probably his call.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say. But so this is the start of an arc, which might be the last arc of the book potentially. I mean, I don't know if Titans and Teen Titans are being cancelled, or if they're just going to keep the numbering and they'll have new teams post No Justice and all that stuff. It's hard to say at this point. But this arc is the teams all separate; they're all disbanded, and this issue focuses mainly on Roy, who's trying to like sort of deal with a drug empire that's going on, and then Cheshire shows up and they kind of have a weird uneasy alliance, and then by the end of the issue it turns out that she wasn't there because she claimed she was hired by a bunch of people whose lives were ruined by drugs. It turns out though she's actually working, fun enough, the Brain.
Oh.
The Brain and he's ape. What's his Mala? There you go, Mala. Right? That's his ape.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Basically, she's working for them, and she was to get the drugs for them. And screwing over Roy, she not only has sex with him, she actually gives him drugs, like without him realizing it. So he's actually...
That's big for Roy.
Yeah, he wakes up, and he's like, oh, I feel like, a wreck. Like, what happened? And he sees, like, the drugs laid out and stuff. Now, you don't see him actually getting, taking them, necessarily. So they could swerve it and say that it's just, like, he just thinks he did. He's just worried that he did. But... Given her dialogue when she's like, oh, I sent him on a trip that he won't come back from, it sounds like she probably dosed him. And yeah, poor Roy. Especially because at one point he's on the phone with Donna, and obviously they had a bit of a connection. And Donna's like trapped in the watchtower, kind of against her will, and Wonder Woman's trying to comfort him and say, oh, you're not a prisoner, we're just trying to look out for you, make sure you're okay before we send you back out. And she's trying to help
You're not a prisoner, you just can't leave.
But hey ho. And also, a scene that I did quite like though, it was Dick helping Wally move into his new apartment. Because it kind of followed on from the Flash annual, it kind of feels in universe. And he's like, hey, it doesn't matter the team's disbanded, I can still help you move. Because he's like, should we be doing this? Are we not meant to like, stay away from each other? Like, yeah, we're meant to not be Titans. Like, we're friends. I can help you move house. This is, even though Wally's got super speed, he does not need help moving house. Just for the record.
It's the offer
I know, but he's a speedster. He can just do it in like a second.
Yeah, but he still has to put the effort in and do it.
Yeah. So they sit on the couch and just talk about being best friends. That was it. It was actually a pretty decent issue, mainly because they're all separate. I felt like it was doing lots of different plots. So it wasn't the best thing ever, but it actually felt kind of like you wanted out of a Titans book to an extent, because they're all actually doing things and it feels like there's multiple things happening. The big problem with Titans for a lot of its run was during the first arc with what's his face, Kadabra, and then that arc with the future Donna Troy, is it felt like it was like 5 issues of the same fight just continuously happening.
Honestly, I feel like my biggest problem with the book is it never knew what it wanted to be, because it kind of coasted by on, hey, we've got Wally.
Well, yeah, I think that was the symptom of that, though, is that it was just like 5 issues of the same fight.
Yeah, because it didn't know what to do, so it was like, well, fight, that'll do.
And I wonder if actually setting up for leaving is actually the best thing that Abnett's had going for him.
direction, yeah.
Because he's actually like, okay, I've got my little end game in mind. Because I'm sure they're going to all come and fight together by the end of this arc, because they'll need to. But it feels like it probably is the swan song, and then No Justice will lead to, either the book being relaunched as something else, or a new team, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. When does No Justice start again?
May is the month where it's all happening, yeah. So May's quite a big month for DC. We're going to have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about in May.
We are. It's going to be busy.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. But I thought it was worth mentioning, just to see what they're doing. I'll not necessarily talk about it next month, but maybe when we get towards No Justice.
Yeah, maybe the end of the arc.
Yeah. I'll check back in on it. And I've been reading it anyway, but I'll check back in then. But hey, so that was Titans 18. It was Paul Pelletier on art, by the way, which that's the upside of having the Abnett or having Booth on action, is that I got to this and I'm like, oh, the art's not bad.
Which would you prefer the art to be better on, though?
Well, normally I'd say action, but like, this arc's not been that great, so I don't really care that much.
No, well, that's fair.
It's kind of like whatever, 6.5 a dozen at this for right now.
And the one thing here that you've got going for Titans is this is the first issue of an arc.
That's true.
Without Booth, so it might be precedent of this is the whole arc without him.
I think he'll be gone, yeah. If he's helping out in action, he's probably gone for the rest of this book.
What a shame.
I know that was sarcastic, but it actually is a good thing. Like, I'm really... This is good, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So, hey. But so that was Titans, which does leave just one last thing for this episode, book-wise, and that is Connor's Corner. The Patreon tier, of course, which makes him read a book of the person's choosing, and our patron David, of course, is just making him read Red Hood and the Outlaws, seemingly forever. So this is issue 15, Scott Lobdell, Dexter Soy. How was it?
Well, I mean, we have the Detective Comics team involved in the book quite heavily. He manages to make me get. He gets them wrong. Like that's the crux. He just gets them wrong. He's got Clayface doing some lines with Cass, and
that sounds okay. That sounds right.
No. It does so far.
Okay.
Wait for it. He's doing his thing, and then he's like, Cassie, are we doing this or what? And she goes, or what? And that's it. She doesn't get involved in doing the lines back. When have you ever seen her turn down that opportunity with Clayface? Unless
that, I mean, are they done by the end of this year, or are they still in the next one, do you think? Is it like, start of a 2-part or whatever?
They're kind of there, but they kind of win the fight at the end, so I assume they're going to be around.
That feels weird if it's not setting up something. Like, she's mad at him for some reason, so maybe they'll explore that next issue.
No, it was just the rest of them. They're all in the room. Like, they're all there talking and planning what they're doing, and then Clayface is off to one side. It's like, hey, Cass, do you want to do this? And she's like, nah.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is really weird. I didn't get it. Another thing I hated, I'll brush through the plot here a little bit, I guess. So Bizarro basically they notice that Bizarro's ship is up there, and that huge giant one that I was mentioning last month, if you recall, the huge city block size ship.
I really don't, but continue.
Okay, well, he sends them a message going, hey, if you're reading this, you're probably crime fighters or vigilantes, you're no longer needed in Gotham, and then signs it the Outlaws, and Kate explains, Well, hey, I know who the Outlaws are. It's that prick Jason and his friends, supposedly.
I mean, to be fair, Kate might actually fit in better with Red Hood and the Outlaws now.
She might.
Given some recent choices, she might fit that team better.
No, she might. She might. I mean, maybe she'd be Batwoman in the Outlaws.
Oh, there you go. I actually kind of like the idea that the redheads are all kind of segregated because they're all the villainous ones. Jason and Kate together.
I'm not taking the bait. Not taking the bait. Especially as Jason's not really redheaded.
Is he not?
No, he's got a red hood, like helmet, but
He used to be a redhead, though. I'm not making this up. He was ginger.
I don't think he was.
Jason was ginger. Don't. Oh, this is. Look at you trying not to claim him.
It's not mine. He's got black hair. He's like all the Robins.
No, he does now, but he used to be ginger.
Did he?
I'm sure Jason Todd was ginger. Hold on, I'm looking this up. You continue.
I don't recall that at all. But anyway, they somehow capture Bizarro. Like he's losing his mind a little bit. He's devolving back to Bizarro instead of Genius Bizarro.
Oh, so you're happy about that?
I am. It's not going quick enough, but yeah. They sneak Clayface up there somehow onto the ship and capture Bizarro that way, and they bring him down and they lock him in this chair that's designed to hold someone. Can't remember now. Maybe it was just Clayface. I don't know. But anyway, they've got him locked down. And then, of course, Jason and Artemis show up because they've got Bizarro and teammates. And, fight ensues, as expected. Now, here's the bit that makes me angry. You ready for this? Have you found out if he was redheaded or not?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the exact quote here from this wiki here. Where's the phrase I was looking for? God, it was in the preview on Google. It's annoying. I can't find it in the actual text. Yeah, he had red hair. It said he was distinguished by his red hair. Distinguished.
Distinguished. Really?
Yes.
I mean,
he was a ginger. I
feel like this is bullshit because I just googled Jason Todd first appearance and click on the images, and he's definitely got black hair.
Google Jason Todd red hair. There's nothing but images of him with red hair.
Maybe there was a point where he had it. So I accept here there are images of this, but not at first. Not in his earliest appearances. He wasn't.
I think he was dyeing his hair at first because he was ashamed of his gingerness, something like that.
Maybe gingers don't dye your hair black. It doesn't look good. It never does. I've known some who've done it. It always looks atrocious.
Is that your brothers?
Not my brothers. No, but no. You will get a big orange patch at the top of your head within about 2 days. It doesn't take long.
It's a bullseye from above.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to show. But anyway, the thing that I really hated in this fight. So, you got a few of them taking Bizarro's, fighting away, and Kate puts in this pill. Like she slips in this pill that turns all the oxygen in his lungs to silicon. So that kind of knocks him down a little bit, which is fine. You've got Batwing basically tasers Red Hood, which is cool.
Yeah, I knew this was a thing.
Okay.
Right. So, Batman and Robin number 5, I think from the New 52. Right. So he peeled off his hood, he had red hair. People are wondering, why does he have red hair? He claims that Batman made him dye his hair so he was more like Dick Grayson.
Sorry, so this is a New 52 retcon that you're judging this off.
Look, I knew he had red hair. I knew I wasn't just making this up. There was a ginger.
It's a New 52 retcon.
There was a ginger thing, okay? There was gingerness to...
So hang on. What we've established here is, in Jason's entire history, he was ginger for a small period of the New 52, and they retconned it.
They retconned it so he was always ginger, but he had been dyeing his hair.
And now he's just dyeing it again.
Yes.
No, this is bullshit. I'm not having it. He's not ginger.
I knew that's the thing.
Didn't count.
I wasn't making this up.
All right, but you can't blame me for not knowing this one. This is a New 52 retcon. This isn't. He was actually ginger.
It might not have been New 52. It might have been Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin.
Right. Okay.
It was writer Grant Morrison's change or add restoration, whatever you want to call it. Oh, yes. Yes.
It didn't last very long, did it? Because he definitely wasn't Ginger in the New 52, was he?
I don't know. I read one issue of that Red Hood series.
No, no, but whenever he popped up.
Dear. This is an entire article on it, by the way, that I'm looking at.
I don't want to know. He's not Ginger. He's not one of ours.
The red hair conundrum, love it or hate it. That is the article I'm looking at. I mean, it's from Tumblr, so it's not like maybe a proper full-on article, but it's a big text thing with that title. Anyway.
So the thing in the fight I really hated. Like, Batwing tasers Jason. That's fine. Do you want to know the only member of the detective team who goes down, or at least takes a notable hit at any point? Like, this is bearing in mind you've got Bizarro wailing around, and you got Batwing taking a smack from him, but he's fine. He's getting up and tasering Red Hood, no problem. Cass.
Oh God, what?
Artemis gives her like this backhanded punch. Just basically does that, like that, into Cass, and it's like, yeah, you're formidable, but you're not an Amazon. And then Clayface has to punch out Artemis. I'm like, really? Cass does nothing in this fight except get punched in the face by Artemis.
Look, if you wanted to give me a fight between Cass and an Amazon and have ultimately Cass be beat because she's fighting someone who's not human, I'll accept that. Don't do the Hulk beats Loki in a second thing. Don't do that.
No. That's she doesn't go down. She kind of goes across, and then Clayface pummels her, so the fight's over. But that's Cass's only action in this entire fight. Everyone else is doing stuff.
She's a jobber. She jobs in this fight. No.
I hate it. Like, I really hate this. What?
They fed Cass to Artemis like she was nothing. That is upsetting.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then anyway, so they're all beat. They're all lying on the floor. Azrael says, now what? And Kate says, now we call her. And I'll be honest, I was like, okay, who's her? And there's like a caption from Bizarro, who's lying on the floor, but this is apparently all part of his plan. Because the Kate even addressed that. It's like, hey, you're smart. You let Clayface take you. But he just says splendid in his caption box. So, presumably that's his plan. I'll be honest, at first I didn't realise who her was. Because I was like, who's her? The only reason I've got it is because I actually just read at the bottom, it does the next issue and it gives you the little thing. It says her, ... and the Suicide Squad. I've gone, okay, so her is Waller. They've gone, hey, these are some villains. Do you want to take these?
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, no. I'm really annoyed that they got Cass so wrong. Wouldn't do lines with Clayface.
Put him back on Connor Kent for Matt.
Do you really want to face that rage?
Just keep him away from Cass. That's all I'm saying.
No, I hate this. This is becoming some of my most hated stuff in the book.
I love it so much. Oh dear.
There was a point where I thought, that's a Bizarro arc. That might not be so bad. I like Bizarro. But it's not really Bizarro. And
you got Brainy Bizarro. And then
I don't want this. No one wants this.
And then you've got Lobdell butchering Cass and whatnot. I don't think the detective team will be around next issue then if it's going to be Suicide Squad. I feel like...
Yeah, they might be around a little bit because they kind of, call them in and they have a little bit of a conversation.
It feels like it's going to be it's like a rotating guest appearance team of some kind.
It does. And that's the thing. Most of the team aren't even that badly treated. They kind of don't do a lot. They just stand around. But the fact that they do that to Cass is just insulting.
I don't know. Okay, I guess, does that wrap us up then? Does that wrap you up?
It does. I'm finished being angry for the month.
Alright, so that'll take us on to picking our favourites of the week. That is our favourite panel/moment, our favourite cover, our favourite art, and our top 5 books of the week. Matt did send on he forgot to do his best cover, but he did the rest, so we do have Matt picks for everything. So panel/moment is the first one we normally do. And what did Matt pick for that? I think he was tricky here because he put down 2. He put down this or that.
Oh, God, what did he go
Cheeky
with?
bigger. He said, end of Wild Hunt with the Apes of 53.
Of course.
Of course he did. And also the last page of The Flash. You're the Flash now. Low-hanging fruit. I say.
Yep.
Low-hanging fruit. That said, I can't really fault it too much. Because I don't know what I'm picking. Like, I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at Wild Hunt. I'm looking at other stuff I loved this week from, say, Flash, say, Tech. Part of me wants to pick Cash ripping off the Bat logo.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Off Kate. I can't deny the You're the Flash now.
That's pretty good. It's very good.
Although now I'm hearing Sean Connery in my head. You're the man now, dog. That line.
Yeah.
You're the Flash now, Wally. I'm hearing that. But to be different, I'm going with Cash ripping off the Bat logo.
Okay.
I felt the emotion in that scene, so I'm going with that.
No. Mine's also from Flash, but I'm going opposite end of the book. I'm going to the very first page.
Oh.
That page of Grodd. When I opened it, and I was like, okay, that's what I'm opening on. I was like, that sets me up. So it was a really imposing image that was like, okay, I like this.
I want Grodd to start using. I mean, I'm sure he's probably said it at some point in the history of the comics, but I really want him to, consistently start using kneel before Grodd.
Oh yeah.
And then I want Zod to hear him say it at some point when there's like a sort of, either Legion of Doom or Injustice League arc, and be like, hey, that's my thing. And I want them to fight over it.
It's probably already happened.
It probably has. It's an obvious thing, but I want it. All right.
Yeah. This is the thing where if we had Matt here, he could probably tell us.
He'd probably tell us, yeah. Next up, we pick our best cover of the week. Matt didn't pick his. I'm actually going with the Wonder Woman variant. Obviously, the covers for the variants for Wonder Woman for the last while have all been pretty good. I've not necessarily been in super automatic, best cover of the week mode with those. I feel like you guys have.
This one's gorgeous, though.
But this one, it's like the image it's Wonder Woman's face, but in these feathers with a white background. It is just beautiful. So that is a shout out as well to the Action Comics variant, which is a really nice painting.
Yeah, that's Carrie Andrews, who we mentioned in the news, I believe.
Oh, we forgot to talk about a book.
Did we?
Yeah, Young Monsters in Love. I forgot that was this week. I forgot to write that in my list.
Oh yeah, I didn't read it.
Oh, did you not?
I saw the price and went, you know what? I don't want to read this.
We started half an hour late so I could finish it.
Well, you can talk about it.
I guess I can. Oh.
I mean, do you want to finish off these bits first?
Yeah, we'll finish off this and then I'll talk about Young Monsters in Love. Oh, damn. I forgot to put it in the list, so I just completely... Because it wasn't this week.
Yeah, I get you.
Silly bugger. Anyway, so I cover Wonder Woman variant.
Yeah. No, that's it. I was very tempted with that. That's like I'm torn between two, but as you've picked that, I'll just go with the other one, which is the Supergirl variant.
It is really good. Those Art Germ variants have been really nice. It's not my favorite outfit though, which is why I've not really dug it.
It's not, but I love the style.
Yeah, I've loved his covers though since he started them. The next one is her 2000s outfit.
The white top.
No, the white top.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Blue skirt. 2000s one.
Okay, because I know the white top one's coming up in the next couple.
Well, I think the 2000 was the last one, so maybe that's before the... He revealed on Twitter this past week, this is my last variant for Supergirl.
Right, okay.
And that was that one, so I just assumed it was next, but maybe there's the white top one first.
Yeah.
But hey, so there you go, that's covers. Best art of the week. What are you thinking?
Flash. Hands down.
Matt also picked Flash. And yeah, it's probably Flash. It's not
all the others are either not great or inconsistent.
Oh, actually, there's an argument for New Superman. Actually,
I didn't read that, so that's fair. I can't have that argument.
Brent Peeples. It was a very solid. I'd probably be number 2. I think Flash is still number 1, but I think that I want to make a point of mentioning that because it was pretty good. All right, so top 5 books. Matt's top 5 books were number 1 Flash, number 2 Wild Hunt, number 3 New Superman, number 4 Detective Comics, number 5 Supergirl. What's your top 5?
Flash is number 1. I'll go with Wild Hunt at 2. 3 Detective. It gets a bit trickier here. 4 I guess, Sideways or Action. Kind of take your pick between those two for the last two.
All right. My number 1 is Flash. I think my number 2 is New Superman, and then Wild Hunt at number 3, Supergirl at 4, and probably Detective at number 5, I imagine. Yeah, Detective. So I've got a very similar list to Matt, slightly different order, but same 5 books. Me and Matt are very agreeable on week 2s for whatever reason.
You are, aren't you? You often have very similar lists.
It's because we both read Supergirl and New Superman, and you don't.
No, that's true.
But no, that's all we cover all though. Obviously a couple of weak issues in terms of action and Wonder Woman. But hey.
They weren't the best, but they were serviceable.
But hey ho. So that is the top 5 books of the week. So normally that's the end of the show, and I tell you what's coming next week. Which I'll do that first as well, actually, just so that's all out the way.
Because you'll forget to do it otherwise.
I'll forget to do it otherwise. That's exactly why I'm doing it now. So coming next week, we have Batman 41, Superman 41, Justice League 39, Green Lanterns 41, Nightwing 39, Aquaman 33, Batwoman 12, Super Sons 13. Damage number 2 is out next week. I know 1 or 2 of us will probably give it a try. We're all kind of obviously mixed on it. I think I'm definitely going to give it a try, so at least I'll mention something about it.
It'll probably be just you, to be honest.
Also out next week is the first issue of Liam Sharp's The Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman number 1.
I'm so excited for that.
6-issue miniseries, so that's starting next week, so that's pretty cool. Also out next week, although we'll not be covering them, is Blue Beetle 18, which I think is the final issue. Trinity 18, Suicide Squad number 36, and I have written down Harley Quinn 38, but that seems to always have moved every time we get to it. So
Harley Quinn 38 is there.
Oh, really?
However, Blue Beetle is not.
Oh, okay. Alright, well, that's how things have changed since the solicits, so that's what's happening next week. So yeah, normally that's the end of the show. Normally I'll say our goodbyes and plug a few final things. I will quickly just kind of mention the Young Monsters in Love one-shot from last week. We skipped that because we had the Swamp Thing special as well last week. And it was Connor's decision to push it to this week, and then he didn't read it, the bugger.
Do you know what? I looked at it and I was like, do you know what? I don't actually want to read this. It's like, it looks fine, but I don't know. Was it? Did I make the wrong decision?
I think there were some interesting stories in there. As always with these one-shot anthology books, though, with just a bunch of different stories, it's kind of like, did it sum up to like something that you really wanted?
Well, that's the question, though. Is this worth the price?
That's a hard thing to say for me. I'm someone who often feels like these standalone annuals and these kind of one-shots with just anthologies typically end up leave me feeling kind of mixed based on the price. It'd be one thing if it was like annual priced and you were getting like 80 pages of this stuff. It's another thing when it's like, well, what was this, $10? I think
it was 10. Yeah.
But there are some good stories in here. The first story is a Man-Bat story, where he's like trying not to become Man-Bat again. He's kind of seeing Man-Bat in his head talking to him like, go on, take the serum, go on, do it, you know you want me back. And he goes to see his wife, who is like, yeah, I've met someone, and he feels all upset, and Man-Bat's like trying to convince him to take his serum, and ultimately he's like, no, I'm not. You know why? I'm doing it for me, and that's kind of the end of the story. So
fair enough.
That was okay. That was one of the okay stories. Who was this by? Because I didn't.
You didn't note them down.
Well, because there was a lot of them. Well,
there was, and if you'd noted them down, you'd have had it in your list.
I didn't even have the name in my list of the book, which is why I got missed. Here's the title page here for the stories. So the Man-Bat story was Kel Higgins and Kelly Jones. So yeah, it was a pretty decent one. That wasn't bad. The Frankenstein Agents of Shade story, Pieces of Me, in which he goes on a mission with the bride, but when he gets back, she's actually got someone. Tim Seeley wrote that one.
Oh, cool.
And that was I don't know how to say that name. Giuseppe Camincoli? Camincoli? Giuseppe? I'm not sure.
I don't
know. Whatever. There's a Solomon Grundy story called Buried on Sunday. It's about Superman taking, one day of the year, on the anniversary of his wife's death, taking, on Valentine's Day, taking him to the grave so he can give flowers to the stone. even though Lois thinks it's dangerous and John even thinks it's maybe dangerous. But he's like, nah, we should do this. Like, he should, you know, if one day of the year I can make him make the right step. It's that, because I think the way he phrases it is not like stopping a negative, but actually encouraging a positive. He wants to do that. So I mean, the idea was nice. It wasn't amazing though. That was Merkhead, Scott writing, and Brian Hitch was on the art. So I didn't love that one. I mean, I liked the Frankenstein one was not bad. The Nocturnal Animals one, that was the Man-Bat story, were pretty decent. There's a Raven story called The Dead Can Dance by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with Javier Fernandez on the art. This is a pretty decent one. This was Raven goes to a haunted house call, like someone's called her because they've got a ghost, but the ghost is unfinished business. It's a teenager who died and basically wants a dance at the Valentine's dance, and Raven has to dance with him at the end, the ghost.
Of course.
So it's a sweet little story. It was okay. We have a Dead Man story called Be My Valentine, which was written by Paul Dini, art by Gilliam March. There's a young kid being bullied at school, and he almost jumps in front of a train. Or I don't know if he necessarily intentionally is trying to commit suicide, but he's running and he almost gets hit by a train. So Dead Man takes over the kid.
That's two very different scenarios.
It's because he's running towards the train, but see, it's hard to find the pages with a book this big, so I'm not going to look for it. But
yeah.
Dead Man basically takes over the kid and goes back to the school and confronts the bullies by doing some impressive jumping and whatnot. And at the end of the story, he leaves the kid a Valentine's card saying, hey, this day will be a bit of a blur, you won't really remember it. If any of the kids ask you for your kung fu moves, just say you don't have anything to prove. Plus that girl Sarah might like you. But he basically just gives him a pep talk. And the bully is being beat up by his father because he finds bruises on his arms, so he kind of sets things in motion so the teachers will find out about it. Again, it's an okay little story. You had a Swamp Thing story called Heart-Shaped Box. Mark Russell wrote that. Artist and colorist was Fraser Irving. The art was the best part of this for me.
I do like Fraser Irving quite a lot.
Some of the faces were a little bit weird, but his Swamp Thing and the swamp itself.
Yeah, in my experience with Irving, the facial expressions is definitely not strong suit, but his atmosphere is usually fantastic. Yeah,
it was a really dark atmosphere, and Swamp Thing just looks like it almost looks like eyes and a nose in the green at points, where there wasn't like much shape to him, but it looked really atmospheric, as you say. He's got a new girl for Valentine's Day, and he's called Terry, and he's got a card for her, and he's kind of opening up. But as per usual, when he starts to appear more, some soldiers come to try and take him, and they shoot him. They're not intending to kill her, but the bullets go through him because they're not counting for the fact that he's not a solid object in the same way. He's planted through and through. And she dies, and so it's a really sad Swamp Thing story where once again, being close to someone has led to her death, and as a punishment, he basically makes sure the soldiers will survive in an endless swamp, forest forever. He'll make sure there's always food to eat on, and there's always stuff to keep them alive, but they'll just never get out. So it's a really dark little story.
That's cool.
We got a Steve Orlando written story. This is the Mala and Brain story, which is why I was noting that they popped up in the Titan story. It's basically they break into LexCorp because LexCorp has this new technology so that the Brain might get a cybernetic eye so it can actually see again for the first time. And you get a flashback to the origin story where he was a scientist who looked after him and made him smart, and then the accident happened that made him just a brain. So it's basically a love story between Mala and the Brain. So it's kind of a unique... I actually kind of like this one. And Maggie Sawyer's there trying to talk him down from doing anything, because they've kind of broken him with guns and stuff, and it's sort of a big incident. But Maggie sort of talks them down and lets them do it before the team come in and take them away at the end.
Sounds alright.
So that was an okay little story. It was nice as well because it was lesser known characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't say I knew a whole lot about the Brain and Mala before that. Yeah, the Night Vampire story, which I'll be honest, I don't know the characters that well. I didn't really.
Did you not read I Vampire?
I didn't read I Vampire, so
you missed out. It was great.
So they have kind of a romantic thing. They end up going back to the tomb to have sex at the end, and there's a caretaker that showed them the crypt that they were in at the start. It turned out it was a trap to lure them there, and yeah, honestly, I didn't get a whole lot out of this. This was Elisa Whitney who wrote this, and the art by Stephanie Hans. And Stephanie Hans is a pretty good artist, although there was one really weird face in this that bugged me a lot.
Oh, really?
There was one face where the guy was kind of looking to the side, and it felt like almost his face was like doing like a Picasso thing, where it was like bending round a little bit. There's just the direction of it was really off for me. But
that's strange.
That was called The Turning of Deborah Dancer. But hey, so it didn't do much for me. There was also an Etrigan story that didn't do a whole lot for me either. I feel like if you'd read this, you'd probably be able to explain this to me a lot more than it was. But he's like, he's fighting in hell, and he goes into hell because the person he loved like became like a killer because they just tried to like hunt Jason Blood down. But all the stuff that she got into ended up turning into a serial killer. And so it's just kind of like a hell story. Like I say, I'm not a big Etrigan guy, so it didn't really land for me super much.
Yeah. But by anyone notable, this one?
This was Phil Hester writing and Mirko Kolak on the art.
Hester's usually pretty solid.
Yeah. Like I say, it's kind of these things where I feel like if they'd had time to explain the concepts of this a little bit more for me, I'd probably been into it a little bit more. But a lot of the hell stuff was kind of like, I'm not really sure what's going on here because I'm not super into Etrigan typically.
No, makes sense.
And then the last story was a Creature Commando story by James Robinson and an art by John McCrea. Basically, they have like a mission at the start and the end, but the main bulk of the story is basically just the vampire and the wolf characters kind of just having a heart-to-heart and talking about love a little bit and just being kind of weird, and how the wolf has a thing for women with a little bit of facial hair, and the vampire's like, hey, I like long necks.
Of course.
It was okay. It was just kind of just like a fun little thing, but these characters you don't see that often doing the thing, but that was it. As a whole, it's kind of a weird mixed thing. Like, is it worth $10? I don't know. Like, because it's again, all the stories are short. A few of them I quite enjoyed. A few of them were okay, and then a few of them I just wasn't that into. It's as always with these things, it's kind of a mixed bag. But I mean, the ones I liked quite a bit. So
yeah, well, fair enough.
The Brain and Mallet one actually my favourite, which is I did not expect.
I wouldn't have expected that.
And the art in the Swamp Thing was probably my standout for the art, but that was okay. But hey, so but I guess that'll wrap up the show. This was episode 91, I think, maybe 92 of the show. So we're inching to close that milestone 100. Let us know what you thought of this week's books in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Get us on the Twitters at DC Comics Podcast. You can get me at Wibble89, Connor's at ConnorRyan94 for individual Twitters if you want to talk to us about comics on there. We started a Mail Fuzz TV Twitch channel this week. Which obviously it'll be me, sometimes me and Connor playing games on there at random times. But even if you don't care about games, if you want to come and talk to us about comics, you can. You can talk to us on Twitch live when we're sitting playing.
Also, just worth pointing out, the Black Panther review will be coming next week.
Oh yeah, that'll be coming sometime late on Monday. Me and Matt will be doing that.
It's not quite DC, but it's relevant.
Yeah. Obviously, you might be interested in that. I don't typically put the Marvel reviews, the movie reviews, on the audio feed for Comics from the Multiverse, but you can find them on YouTube. Also the Mailed Fuzz Movies audio feed as well, if you want to find the audio versions of that. But so that's coming too. That's a good point. And that is otherwise us. So thank you. Obviously get us on patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. In fact, we should announce the winner of the vote, because we had a vote for this.
Thing after thing you're remembering here.
The monthly episode, which normally we just pick something, but obviously we stopped doing the 5th week trade, so we let people vote on this one on Patreon. And the winner is Teen Titans by Jeff Johns, Volume 1. That's the bigger trade that came out last year. It's got like the first 14 issues in it or something like that. So that is what we were doing. That'll be sometime in the next couple of weeks before the end of the month, of course. Obviously,
I don't think either of us have read this before.
Nope, this is a first for me.
So this will be fun.
Yeah, I'll have fun trying to recognise who this Superboy looking fellow is that Matt always goes on about. But hey, and I'm sure Connor will crack some Starfire jokes, which I'm pretty sure this only won the vote because people wanted you to be able to crack a Starfire joke or two.
I was holding back then when you were talking about not recognising someone. I'm like, is it Starfire?
This is There you go. So that'll be coming in the next couple of weeks. So that is us, and I am very hungry. It's time for food. So thank you much once again for listening or watching. We always appreciate it. We love you loads. My keyboard's collapsing. Keep watching or keep reading DC Comics. You can tell I'm hungry. I'm starting to just fall apart. This has been Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast. We love you loads. We'll see you next time, and always remember, never to get lost in the Speed Force.